Chapter 718. Seeing the big fish fall to the ground, Taoist Rumeng let out a long sigh and looked to the side. Seeing that there was no second fish, he said to Taoist Rumeng and Taoist Feng Changgong, "This fish is a spirit from the Wei River. It has done evil many times. I tracked it for many days and finally caught it." Good. Ba. When the group of people who were originally shocked heard Taoist Rumeng's words, they were surprised at the same time. Without waiting for them to ask, Rumeng said, "Oh, I once caught this fish spirit with a fellow monk. I didn't expect that the fellow monk would pass away in meditation. I carry his thoughts." After saying that, Rumeng's eyes looked into the distance. He looked like he was really reminiscing. "Looks like I still need to train. It's easy to make mistakes at critical moments," said Zhang Xiaobao, who was hiding behind a temporary house. "I think it's not bad. At least you reacted quickly and pulled out a monk friend. Where's the other fish? Aren't there two?" Wang Wan looked interested, but she realized that one fish was missing. "Who knows? The explosion missed. I don't know where it flew to. Your fixed-point explosion doesn't work. Do you think it's an underwater missile? It's good enough that it can be blown out. It's better than you. Don't always blame others. This flying prawn is for you. Use the stove to stick it to me tonight." Wang Wan did not think that it was her fault at all. She picked up a prawn that was implicated and stuffed it into Zhang Xiaobao's hand. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the unlucky prawn whose tail was blown off. "One isn't enough for you. Then catch a few more. What have you been thinking about all day? Do you still need to ask me about such a small matter?" Wang Wan turned her head away. Zhang Xiaobao nodded and shook his head. He nudged Wang Wan. "Look at me. Let me ask you, have you been feeling a little nervous recently? Are there many things that don't go your way?" "What?" Wang Wan asked. "Nothing, I'm just asking. Tonight, we won't eat the food from the construction site. Since little root vegetable is out, I'll pack a box for you to eat. It's just a bite, no soup. Drink some mung bean water. As for the dishes, we'll just eat some garlic and cucumber. We won't bring Li Sun, just the two of us." Zhang Xiaobao stared at Wang Wan's eyes for a while. He didn't find anything, so he suggested what to eat for dinner. Wang Wan was stunned for a moment before she said, "Xiaobao, thank you. I really haven't been feeling well recently. I think I've been too nourished. I'm going to do that soon. I used to be 12 years old. Don't look at me. What's there to look at? You're not allowed to have any ideas on me." "Oh, I'll hit someone else." Zhang Xiaobao finally understood what was going on. "No wonder. You dare? Don't put vinegar in cucumbers. I know. Add a blanket tonight and ask someone to send some things over. The things I made for others can finally be used on you." Zhang Xiaobao said understandingly. Wang Wan twisted her body twice. "Don't say that. It's not certain yet. Look at Li Sun. It's good to be with you here. It saved a lot of trouble." "Me too." At this time, Rumeng was still baring his fangs and brandishing his claws at the poor fish that had been killed by the explosion. No one could hear what he was muttering. They only saw him walking around the fish and talking. "Such a big fish. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo are really good friends. I'll eat you tonight. I don't know if the taste will be bad after being fried. With Xiao Bao here, I'm not afraid." That was what Rumeng muttered. When he thought about how to eat for dinner, he stopped, looked at the sky, and said, "Poor common people. Well, I'll take this fish spirit and use kerosene to comfort all living beings." Someone immediately came over and took the fish away. It didn't matter how to eat it. It could be cooked in kerosene or boiled in water. At this time, Rumeng was already frightened. He didn't expect that a fish would really fly out and come out of the water with a boom. Just now, he thought that Rumeng was like him, lying. He didn't expect him to be so capable. Could it be that the Taoist of Mount Longhu was so powerful? What was Mount Longhu? Feng Changgong's face was pale. He was very worried that Taoist Rumeng would expose his lie. At that time, not only would the common people object, but if Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan found out, they would impeach him. Worried in his heart, he gathered his courage and approached Rumeng. He reached out and pulled Rumeng's sleeve and said, "Master Rumeng, is it safe here? Do you want to let Master Rumeng take a look?" As he spoke, Feng Changgong flipped his hand and gave Rumeng a hard thing. If it were an ordinary person, they might not know what it was, but Rumeng knew. He estimated the size and weight of it and the feeling when he touched it. He immediately understood that it was a piece of gold that weighed 4 taels. He didn't know where Feng Changgong got it from. If he really calculated, it was worth about 30 strings of coins. At the thought of this, Ru Meng's expression changed. His impression of Feng Changgong became worse. In less than a breath, Ru Meng said indifferently, "I only care about catching the fish spirit. Since the fish spirit is gone, I don't need to stay here any longer. I'm going to swim." After saying that, Ru Meng took a deep breath and calmed down. He rushed toward Ru River and jumped into it with a splash. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. It seemed that he didn't want the fish spirit that was going to be boiled in kerosene. When the common people saw that Master Ru Meng was no longer on the water, they exclaimed. They were also shocked. It was too magical. Just when everyone thought that Ru Meng had left, a long and distant voice came from an unknown place. "I'm Ru Meng. The fish spirit has been eliminated. You can ask fellow Taoist Ru Meng about other things. Fellow Taoist Ru Meng has great merits. He has the ability to determine the sun and the moon. The 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors are all in his heart. Feng Changgong, who invited him here, has done a great service." His voice drifted for a long time before dispersing. Everyone looked at dream-chasing Taoist priest in a different light. On the other side, Li Sun found Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan wet. He complained, "Didn't you say there were 2 fish? Why is there only 1? I don't care. Anyway, I have to braise it at night. Get me some ginger water. I'm so cold. The river in early summer is not warm." Zhang Xiaobao replied unhappily, "You haven't finished what I asked you to say. Why are you in such a hurry? You made me use the bamboo tube to replenish it. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for the plan to succeed. What did he give you?" "Gold. Come here. He could bring such a big piece of gold at any time. I couldn't get it home. I have to teach him a lesson. Make it into something to calm him down." Li Sun wiped his hair with a towel and handed the gold to Zhang Xiaobao. At the same time, he was very emotional. Before he met Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, he would never give such a big piece of gold to others casually. He was so poor. Now that he was with the 2 of them, no one took this gold seriously. Although it was worth more than 30 strings of coins, it was not a matter of 30 strings of coins. Ordinary people could not exchange it for such a big piece of gold, even if they had 50 strings of coins, unless they bought jewelry and melted it at home. However, they cannot take it out casually as money. If you want to calm down, drink some cinnabar and have a special medicinal diet. Do you think gold is so delicious? If you eat until you die, do you want to make a small box of vegetables at night? If you want, I'll get someone to send it to you. Cuckoo is not feeling well. She won't eat with you." Zhang Xiaobao weighed the gold twice and did not return it to Li Sun. Li Sun nodded. "Eat? What about lunch?" "I decided not to eat. I'll wait for you to make a box at night. What other dishes do you have? Tell me first. I'll think about it. It's a beautiful day." "No, just a cucumber." "That's fine. As long as it's made by you, it won't be bad. You guys stay here. I'm going to change my clothes. It's so fashionable." Li Sun was very happy. He did not care about what he ate. He only cared about who made it. The food made by Xiao Bao would definitely not be bad. It seemed that he had made the right choice to come to Shinsai County. After Li Sun left, Wang Wan took the gold and looked at Zhang Xiaobao with sparkling eyes. "I couldn't tell. You really don't show off. Learn how to bark like a rabbit. I finally know. No wonder people couldn't catch you when you were in the city. Just put on a disguise and change your voice. Who would be able to guess who you are?" Zhang Xiaobao was very cooperative. He mimicked a rabbit and squeaked twice, saying, "It's a life-saving skill. In order to learn this, I gave you 4 caddies of real bean cakes and dry tobacco. It's not easy to bring them into prison. That old man is fond of them. If he doesn't give me cigarettes, I can't even call him Grandpa. What do you want this gold for?" So the most powerful place is prison. You can learn all kinds of good things. I want to use this gold to make something good that women like a chain. Wang Wan was happy to discover another ability of Zhang Xiaobao. Xiaobao was powerful, so she was powerful. She held the gold and said happily. Zhang Xiaobao looked at Wang Wan in surprise. "Is it the kind of chain that women use? You can't make it right now." "Xiaobao, I'm so disappointed in you. You can't learn anything good in prison. Separate. You must live separately. Wang Wan immediately understood what Zhang Xiaobao was referring to. While speaking, she pulled Zhang Xiaobao and wanted to stuff the gold into his mouth. Not too far away, Feng Changgong was still proud of his method of giving the gold. He felt that he had really seen an immortal. He just didn't know why an immortal needed so much money. Looking at the Taoist priest Zhui Meng next to him, he was more confident in his heart. With an immortal's word, wouldn't it be what it said? Zhui Meng was very regretful at this moment. He regretted that he didn't get closer to Ru Meng just now and lost an opportunity to become an immortal. No matter how much money he cheated, it couldn't be compared to immortality. He sighed with emotion. Money was a worldly possession, but he didn't know that the immortal in his heart had earned so much money. Taoist priest Zhui Meng, why don't you show me what's good and bad here? Feng Changgong said to Zhui Meng when he saw that one had left and there was still one that he invited. He remembered that he had to do what he had to do. Zhui Meng, who felt that he had lost the opportunity to become an immortal, replied, "Okay, let this poor priest take a look." After speaking, he began to take the compass and spin it again. The people who had not dispersed were not in a hurry to go back to work. They just stared at him. After spinning for a while, Zhui Meng, who had taken the money, stopped and sighed, "Ah, there is still a great omen here. It's not easy to move the earth, especially the water." Chapter 719. As soon as Taoist dream chasing finished his sentence, Feng Changgong revealed a victorious smile. He, who had been blinded by greed, did not know the trouble he was about to face. The county magistrate was slightly worried. He was afraid that when the people stopped working, Prince Tang would be angry. When that happened, even an immortal would not be able to protect them. The registrar stood there and thought about many things. He felt that things were not as simple as they appeared to be. Dream chasing, who could not become an immortal, began to work. He continued, "All the craftsmen here must stop. Otherwise, they will incur the wrath of the heavens and burn themselves." They had wanted to watch and listen more, but when the curious commoners heard his words, they were unhappy. Even the very capable Taoist, Ru Meng, who had come in a hurry and suddenly disappeared, said that he was powerful. This workshop was not a simple construction problem. It was related to their future lives. Feng Changgong finally felt that something was wrong. He walked in front of Dream Chasing and said, "Just talk about the diversion of water. Don't mention the workshop." Dream Chasing nodded to show that he understood. He said, "If you want to move the soil, I have a method that can solve all disasters. However, it can only solve the soil and not the water. It's better not to touch the water." When the people who were working heard that, they would not touch the water in the future. Building the workshop was not a big deal. They all turned back to continue their work. This was because the person in charge had come over to reprimand them. He did not say anything else, but asked the people who were working, "Are you worthy of the wages you receive? Are you worthy of the food you eat?" The people who still knew filial piety, loyalty, and propriety went back to work. This made Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan feel very emotional. This is the true foundation of a nation. When the moon is full, it will waver. When prosperity is prosperous, it will be lonely. A moment of glory is not important to the entire nation. What is important is who can preserve the nation's heritage. America was so powerful, but didn't it gradually withdraw from the stage 100 years ago? Science and technology could be created by humans, and many results could be obtained in a short period of time. However, civilization was definitely not that simple. A country without a cultural foundation would always have to pay a corresponding price in the process of accumulation. Whether it was disasters or wars, what should exist would still exist. This is because they have their own souls. So what if they rule the world for 100 years? When the sun rises, the sun sets. When the material standards are similar, it is a competition of the depth of history. Wang Wan sighed as she watched the simple people go back to work. Zhang Xiaobao did not make any comments about this. He held Wang Wan's hand and said, "Let's go back. We still don't know what kind of person Zhang Shuo will send. I hope they don't send an idiot. Otherwise, we will have to waste a lot of effort." It was night, and the moon was high in the sky. The people who took turns to work lit their torches and continued to work. Feng Changgong also made an exception and stayed behind. He was not willing to eat with the workers, and Li Sun was reluctant to share the food made by Zhang Xiaobao with others. He could only ask people to look for a small shop nearby and order them to make a more sumptuous dish. Sitting by the river, they felt the gentle night breeze, which was cool and had a trace of chill. Not far from him, Li Sun sat alone by the torches. While eating, he complained vaguely that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had gone to live a life of two people. Until he could not eat anymore, his eyes were still looking at the remaining 2 boxes on the plate. He reluctantly stuffed a piece of cucumber into his stomach and looked in the direction of Feng Changgong. He said regretfully to himself, "What a pity. I invited him for nothing. I guess he won't have a chance to travel to Shuzhou again. It is so easy to find a Taoist priest to join the heaven and earth. You are lucky that you are not beheaded." Thinking of this, Li Sun could feel how ruthless Zhang Xiaobao's methods were. Originally, Feng Changgong only wanted to find a Taoist priest to help, but in the end, he disguised himself as a Taoist priest. If he stayed behind after leaving, he would have changed the meaning, saying that Feng Changgong could be the emperor if he wanted. How could this be good? Feng Changgong was too much. Just let him lead the river. Why do you have to stop it? Now, he had lost his life. Feng Changgong really did not think about this matter. He was thinking about how to get more benefits in the process of turning Xinsai County from Zhong County to Shaanxi County. The first credit was given to Commandery Prince Tang, and the people in the county gate could only distribute the rest of the credit. Which one should he assign to himself? Thinking about this matter, Feng Changgong glanced at the county magistrate who was staring blankly at the flowing river and asked, "County Magistrate Ma, which one of the 4 places do you think is good? Planting sesame seeds and fragrant oil workshop, or raising poultry or livestock? The fertilizer is probably not valuable. You can choose one." The county magistrate was still thinking about what happened during the day. Rumeng came and left in a hurry. How come he had never heard of such a great ability? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came to lead the river, but why did they not do anything? Only Commandery Prince Tang, and came to build a few workshops. Did he really intend to wait until the local people wanted to lead the river? Hearing the county magistrate's voice, the county magistrate looked at the changing moonlight in the water and replied, "Sir, I think it's better to let Baoxin County lead the river away. Since there are workshops in our county, there will be many people willing to come. The number of people will be enough to be promoted to Shaanxi County. We don't have to worry about people running to Baoxin County. I asked you which place to choose, not whether to lead the river or not. What if it can be promoted to Shaanxi County?" The 2 of them dared to teach me a lesson in front of my face. How can I take this lying down? I don't believe that they dared to kill me directly, and I don't believe that they can bribe the people in the court to deal with me, a 7th-rank official. If they really do that, how will the people see the Zhang family and Wang family? Don't tell me that it's necessary to kill people because of political disagreements. Feng Changgong said eloquently. The county magistrate really thought so. He didn't think that the other party would take action because of political differences. It was because there were many things in Xi and Kai County that the other party couldn't stand. For example, the other party clearly proposed a good idea to improve the lives of the people, but the county magistrate just agreed. For example, that day at the riverside, the Yamen runner tried to buy the fish by force with very little money. The way the Zhang family and Wang family acted always gave people the impression that they loved the people like their own children. What they couldn't stand the most was other officials who didn't sincerely work for the people. They could say that they were meddling in other people's business to gain a good reputation, or that they were removing obstacles in the development of Baoxin County. In the end, they wouldn't be kind easily. The county magistrate wanted to retreat. The more Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't react fiercely, the more uncertain he was. It wasn't good to be too calm. So he kindly advised, "Sir, why don't you discuss with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and ask them what they should do with the original idea? After all, it can make the lives of the people in the county better, and it can also give you some political achievements." There's no need to mention this anymore. Political achievements? Don't tell me you don't have enough political achievements now. No matter how much you have, you won't be able to become a provincial governor. According to my estimation, after the two of us turn Kai into a county, we can go to the provincial government to work after paying a tax. Tomorrow, I'll write a letter to the capital and ask around. Do you still have enough money? Feng Changgong didn't want to continue discussing the matter that troubled him, so he wanted to ask his backer. The county magistrate had a pained expression on his face. Yes, I've prepared 1,000 strings of coins and a gift worth 500 strings of coins. The account has just been settled, but it hasn't been completely corrected yet. I'm worried that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan will write a petition to impeach, and the imperial court will send people to check the account. They're all dead people. Can the imperial court's people come down the next day? Quickly correct it. If it really can't be done, let people immediately open up a new piece of land and use the new land to clear the old account. Find your own people to occupy the land and cooperate with Prince Tang and to plant soybeans and sesame seeds. Let them send the money up first. Don't feel bad about the small amount of money. If you give them 1,000 strings of coins, you'll get 10,000 strings of coins in return. If you weren't willing to spend the money back then, would you and I have run to Kai County to become officials? When you and I came here, there were more than 3,000 people in Kai County. Now, only a few years have passed, and you could be promoted again. If you don't give money, do you think you can be promoted so quickly? Feng Changgong began to educate the county magistrate. County Magistrate Ma knew that he couldn't quit even if he wanted to. When he first started his career, he wanted to let his family have a better life. With a little bit of money, he could buy more land and didn't have to worry about food, clothing, and housing. Who knew that he would have to take out the money he earned again and again? All the money was used to send gifts. He was promoted, but he didn't keep the money. There were too many things on his plate, and he couldn't get rid of them. He could only hope that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who he offended this time, wouldn't find out. Seeing that the county magistrate didn't say anything and just lowered his head, Feng Changgong said again, "Before you leave, make another sum of money. This time, you don't have to give it away. See how Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan do business. Learn from them when you go elsewhere. In the future, it won't be easy to make money when you work for others." In fact, County Magistrate Ma had been secretly complaining for a long time. If he didn't give the money to others at the beginning and let his family do business, he would have a lot of money now. In the place where he was an official, he couldn't lose money under his care. Hearing that he didn't have to take money from the account in the future, he was relieved. He only hoped to leave as soon as possible. It was uncomfortable to be too close to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The construction of the construction site was in full swing. Children who couldn't sleep also came out to see the scene. Children liked places where it was still bright at night. By the way, they could drink some hot soup specially prepared for the workers instead of boiling water. If anyone was thirsty, they could come and drink a bowl of it. Even if the egg flowers in the soup had been broken into pieces and the vegetables were mostly wild vegetables, children still liked to drink it because they couldn't not add oil and salt when boiling the soup. There was also spicy ginger. Children ate the soup like snacks. To children, they could drink the soup, see the busy adults, and see the fire swaying in the wind. For children, this was happiness, simple and unforgettable. The rumbling sound of the horses' hooves covered the children's laughter. More than a dozen children stopped and looked in the direction of the sound of the horses' hooves. Their eyes were full of curiosity, but they were not afraid at all. As the sound of the horses' hooves was getting closer and closer, the first to react was Li Sun's guards. 100 people surrounded Li Sun, who was enjoying the night scenery. More people mounted their horses and picked up their weapons. They divided into 3 groups and opened up the distance. The first group of 100 people rode their horses slowly to meet the horses. The second group of 200 people separated into 2 groups and slowly rode their horses in circles, ready to charge. The third group stood still and waited for orders. Chapter 720. As the sound rang out, the other party's horses stopped one after another. They put on a defenseless appearance, allowing Li Sun's 100 cavalrymen at the front to approach. A very handsome person rushed out from the group. He was wearing a light yellow brocade robe, and was riding a large red horse. He looked at Li Sun's 100 cavalrymen enviously and asked, "Where's my fifth brother?" "So it's the sixth Marquis. Young master has just finished dinner and is enjoying the fire by the river." "Sixth Marquis, please come this way." The leader of Li Sun's 100 cavalrymen looked at the person who came down and cupped his hands in salute. He pulled on the reins and led the way. "Follow behind. Don't disturb the people." The person on the horse ordered and urged his horse to follow behind the cavalryman. Li Sun was planning to stay a little longer and eat the other 2 boxes when his stomach was a little empty. There was a pile of charcoal beside him to heat up. Hearing the noise, he stood up and looked over. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also came out with 100 crossbowmen gathered around them. They were originally going to help Li Sun's cavalrymen hold the line and shoot at the enemy's middle and rear, or wait for the cavalrymen to turn around and help suppress the enemy. It seemed that they were not going to be needed. "You two finished eating too?" "My sixth brother. I don't know how he found us, and I don't know what he's doing." When Li Sun saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, he made a puzzled expression. In fact, he wasn't afraid even if he didn't know who was coming. He had 600 cavalrymen, and Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had more than 200 people around them. With more than 100 people lying in ambush, with Wang Wan's leadership skills, even if the enemy had 10,000 people, they wouldn't be able to hurt him. Some of the 600 cavalrymen had once fought with Wang Wan in Tubo. "You know Li Ji? He came here in the middle of the night," Zhang Xiaobao said as he looked at the people who were no longer working on the construction site. Instead, they were picking up various tools and preparing to provide support. "He probably misses me. I don't think he's short of money. Last time, during his birthday celebration, I gave him 10,000 strings of cash. He said that he used it to do business. Now he's also a county magistrate. Oh, he's also a consul in the army of Zhou, unless he loses money." Li Sun really didn't know why his younger brother, who was no longer his biological younger brother, was here. At this time, Li had already arrived nearby on his horse. When he saw his brother, he jumped off his horse and almost fell. He happily went up to Li Sun and said, "Fifth brother, I haven't eaten yet. Is there anything to eat? Just 2 boxes. I'll make do with it." After saying that, he didn't stand on ceremony. He reached out and picked up a box that was only a little warm. He opened his mouth and ate it. He chewed hard a few times and stuffed the whole box into his mouth. He stretched his neck and swallowed it. Then, he poured the remaining half of the soup into his stomach. He picked up a cucumber and asked, "Fifth brother, where did you find this cook? It's delicious. What's in a box?" "It has a faint spicy smell of scallions, but it's different from scallions. It's slightly better, a little earthy. It's fresh. Why don't you lend it to me for a while?" "It's cold. Wait first. I'll bring it to you later. Here, it's made by this one, Zhang Xiaobao. The one next to him is Wang Wan. If you can bring it back, let them make it for you every day." Li Sun also liked this younger brother very much. Unfortunately, he was only a younger brother in private. If he was in the capital or in public, he could only be a younger cousin, who asked him to be adopted. Even though he was clearly related, he couldn't casually say that. Li was still immersed in the delicious taste of the box. When he heard his brother's words, he didn't even think about it, and said, "Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, right? You two come with me. How much do you want?" "As long as you can take out 10% of this official's family's wealth." "Marquis Li, eat slowly. This official still has more in my tent." "Marquis Li, do you want to dip in sauce?" "With sweet sauce, it'll taste even better." When Zhang Xiaobao heard someone say that the food he made was delicious, he was also happy. He played along with Li Yu. "Quickly bring it over. Good cooking. How much is 10% of your family's wealth?" Li Yu picked up the other box. This time, he couldn't bear to eat it all directly. He took small bites and asked as he ate. "Roughly 10% of my family's income is from the business between the clouds and the water. The turnover for the first half of this year hasn't been reported yet. We'll know in June. Marquis Li still has to wait for a while." Zhang Xiaobao really did drag Wang Wan to get the box for Li Yu. Li Sun's younger brother had arrived and hadn't eaten yet. They couldn't let him starve. "Okay, let's go get first. Fifth brother, I'll tell you a piece of good news. There's a big business in my county. People from a chamber of commerce have taken a fancy to a piece of land in my county. They say they want to occupy it and then develop it. But, fifth brother, who were those two just now? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Between the clouds and the water? Those two are Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Fifth brother, why didn't you tell me earlier? Aya, this is bad. Xiaobao, Cuckoo, wait for me. I don't need you two to be my cooks. I really don't need you two. As Li Yu was talking, he suddenly realized something. He complained to his brother and wanted to catch up with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Li Sun pulled Li Yu back and said helplessly, "They went to get something for you to eat. Why are you in such a hurry to come here? They didn't even eat their fill." Fifth brother, the two of them personally cooked? I just said I wanted to buy them into the family, but they won't lower themselves to your level. Tonight's dinner was cooked by Xiaobao. Go on, how big is your business over there? Li Sun stopped Li Yu, who was about to follow him, and asked. Actually, it's not that big. Compared to you, fifth brother, it's not big enough. Last time, fifth brother gave me 10,000 strings of cash, and I use it all to do business. This time, I'm going to invest in it again. They said, fifth brother, let's wait for Zhang Xiaobao to come back. I wanted to talk to you directly, but since he's here, why don't we listen together? Li Yu was about to talk about the business when he suddenly stopped. He was going to wait for Zhang Xiaobao to come over. Li Sun immediately knew what this younger brother meant. He said with some dissatisfaction, "Yes, if there's no one else, you come to me. If there's someone else, you come to me. You know how powerful Xiaobao is, right?" "No, I didn't mean that." "Then I'll talk to you first, fifth brother." Li Yu quickly denied. Li Yu started talking, but he didn't talk about the business. He talked about something else. "Fifth brother, I really admire you. This time, I brought 300 cavalry with me, but when faced with your 100 cavalry, I lost my momentum. The second echelon behind you that is preparing to charge hasn't come up yet. If they come up, even if I have 3,000 men, I won't be able to win. Fifth brother, tell me, how do you train your soldiers? They give off the feeling of being on the battlefield. The archers here are not bad either. Just now, I heard the faint sound of strings being pulled. My guard captain told me that just by hearing the sound, you can tell how powerful the archers are. They pull the strings continuously, but not hurriedly. They pull the strings in an orderly manner. He said that during war, the scariest thing to hear is this kind of sound, because in the next moment, you'll be covered by a neat rain of arrows. This kind of rain of arrows can form a formation. When he heard the praise, Li Sun was also happy. Wei Wei nodded. The ones rushing out in front are all soldiers who have fought against Tubo outside the pass. The archers are Wang Wan's guards. Even if you have 30,000 soldiers for fun and hunting, not to mention 3,000, even if I pass the command to Wang Wan, you can't do anything. Of course, who doesn't know about Cuckoo? The Tubo people call her Demon Fiend, but we call her Ghost Fox in private. She moves like the wind and comes and goes without a trace. Fifth brother, what are you doing here? Li Yu flattered again. His eyes were fixed on the direction Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had left, and he asked about the situation at the construction site again. At this time, the people at the construction site had already gone back to work. Many people actually hoped that the enemy would come from another country. Of course, this kind of thinking was stupid. If the enemy could come here, how many places would have been penetrated by the enemy? They wanted to see how Wang Wan would lead the troops to kill the enemy until they threw away their armor. Seeing that the alarm was lifted, and it was said that the enemy was another member of the royal family. Knowing that the fight would not happen, they went back to their positions and did what they were supposed to do. I have a stake in the business of 4 workshops here, so I came to take a look. I haven't seen Xiaobao and Cuckoo for a long time. It's strange. What's the big business you mentioned just now? Li Sun didn't think that his younger brother would know the details, so he casually answered and asked again. Li Yu's eyes were still fixed on the direction Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had left. Hearing his brother's question, he responded and then asked again, Fifth brother, is the workshop here proposed by Zhang Xiaobao? I don't know if my Chongning County can learn from it. Then you have to give me the map. Tell me what you have there. Can't all patterns be copied to other places? Is there a big business? Tell me specifically. Map? Yes, I have a few copies. I also know about the things there. Fifth brother, can you let me have a stake in a business here? I won't make trouble and just wait to collect the money. What do you think? Think about it in your own county. Once the business of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family is launched, they don't need other people to have a stake in it, unless they ask others before doing it. It's very risky. Anyone who hesitates will lose the opportunity. Next time, when they have a business, I'll tell you and you can take out the money. Li Sun finally understood. His younger brother didn't want to talk about the big business with him alone and kept interrupting. And there was no need to ask. After all, his business skills were not as good as Zhang Xiaobao's. Even his own younger brother didn't trust him. Liu nodded happily. Fifth brother, don't worry. When the time comes, I won't ask if it can make money or how. I'll just take the money. When the time comes, I'll take whatever they give me. They're back. Why do they take so long? At this time, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan appeared outside the tent. Zhang Xiaobao was holding a plate with something steaming on it. He came closer and put down the plate. There were a few boxes, a bowl of soup, 2 small pickles, and a little sweet sauce. He said to Li Yu, "It's just done. It's crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. 6 Marquis, try it. We'll talk about the matter of entering the manor later." Chapter 721. What kind of business? Zhang Xiaobao was puzzled. How big was the business that Liu needed to come to his brother? Was he short of money? Did he need more than 100,000 strings of cash or hundreds of thousands of strings of cash? Brother Wu, do you have any tea? You can have some tea first. I'll tell you as I eat. And the 300 people I brought haven't eaten yet. Liu was indeed hungry. He hadn't eaten at noon and had rushed all the way here. After eating 2 boxes, he found that he was even hungrier and wanted to eat first. Zhang Xiaobao nodded to the people from the inner courtyard beside him, and the people from the inner courtyard went to prepare the food. In the middle of the night, the workers still had supper, so the people who had been invited were in charge of cooking. The 3 of them didn't drink tea. Zhang Xiaobao held a glass of juice, Li Sun held a glass of wine, and Wang Wan sat and listened with a cup of hot milk in her hand. Seeing that his subordinates were arranged, Liu ate a box and felt much better. Hot food was better than cold food. He said to the 3 of them, "When I was the county magistrate of Chongning County, a chamber of commerce called Qianshi Chamber of Commerce suddenly came. They were willing to pay 50,000 strings of cash to do business in the county. However, they didn't have land and didn't want to buy it. They said that they didn't have much money now. They told me that they planned to build a large-scale pottery distribution center in the county. At the same time, they could use the local iron or to study new pottery processing techniques. As long as they did it, they could increase the tax of Chongning County by 50% a year later and solve the problem of jobs for the 300 people who couldn't find jobs. 2 years later, they could double the tax of Chongning County through their vigorous publicity and market operation. 3 years later, through the form of a joint venture. Through the form of a joint venture, you can widely distribute sales outlets and carry out some kind of brand effect. You can double the tax revenue of Chongning County again and form a long-term, effective, and reasonable utilization model. Every local family can go upstairs and benefit from it, right?" Before Liu finished, Wang Wan added. She then said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Classic, it's really classic. I suddenly have a feeling of transcending time and space." Zhang Xiaobao didn't say anything and waited for Li Yu to continue. Li Meng's mouth was half open as he looked at Wang Wan in shock. With an expression of disbelief, he asked, "How did you know?" "I know a lot, so this is nothing. The other party's level can be said to be at the beginner's level. It's not easy. 6 Marquis, please continue." Wang Wan and Wei Wei smiled. She raised the cup to her mouth and sipped. Liu also took a sip of the soup. Something like that. That's what they meant. They said that their people were very good at organizing and could sell the worthless things at a high price. They told me not to worry because the things in Chongning were valuable and could only be better, not worse. I thought it was good, so I prepared to let them do the business and was willing to invest 10,000 strings of cash. I had already earned 12,000 strings of cash from the money Fifth brother gave me. Since it was a business in the capital, I didn't have to worry about it anymore. But they also said that it wasn't enough because they needed a very large site for research, production, mining, and storage for materials. They said that if they wanted to make money quickly, they needed to invest 100,000 strings of cash in the early stage. They asked me to find a way to pull some people in. As long as they had 100,000 strings of cash, they could start the business. Moreover, they said that the people who invested money could make a profit in 1 year and get their capital back in 2 years. Their place couldn't be moved, so I didn't have to worry about them cheating people. But there was one thing. They didn't have enough money to buy the land, so they hoped to find someone who could cooperate with them or directly invest the land in the government office. Nowadays, people talk about shares. The land shares account for 20% of the shares, which is 25,000 strings of cash. According to the price, they must have such a large land. I'm short of money. No matter what, I can't gather 50,000 strings of cash. So, I'm looking for you to discuss and see if you can invest some money. Just 30,000 strings of cash will do. I'll just gather the rest. At the same time, I want to ask Fifth Brother if this deal is possible. After saying this, Liu looked at Zhang Xiaobao. He didn't look at his fifth brother because he felt that Zhang Xiaobao's words were more credible. Although 50,000 strings of cash was a lot for him, it was too easy for his fifth brother and Zhang Xiaobao. They could even take out so much money to build a canal. Zhang Xiaobao was too lazy to talk about this kind of thing. He glanced at Wang Wan, indicating for Wang Wan to continue. Wang Wan put down the cup and said to Liu, "Eat your food. I'll tell you slowly. Listen carefully. First, I want to ask you if there is iron in Changning County. Can be used to make pottery? Yes, there's a lot of iron and clay. Yes, there's a kiln there." Liu, who took a bite of the box, said with food in his mouth, "How much land can you buy with 25,000 strings of cash?" Wang Wan asked again. "The land there is expensive now. It's close to the capital. You can buy 5,000 mu for upper fields, 8,000 mu for middle fields, and even more for lower fields. It depends on the place. You could buy 20,000 mu in a bad place, but Changning County can't afford such a large land. It's not easy." Liu answered again. He felt that something was wrong. Otherwise, why would Wang Wan say this? Wang Wan nodded. "It's okay if you can't afford it. You can take as much as you can. Also, you can allow them to mine the local mineral resources and other things. Then the amount they mine will be included in the county's investment. However, the county can't use this money as dividends unless it's the profit from selling auxiliary products. Only then will the county have a part of it. When the county has enough money with resources, it can participate in the dividends of direct products again. Then, you won't be in a difficult position." "How do you know?" "That's what they told me. They also said that in this way, the people in the county can benefit from the labor in the early stage. However, they said that the county has to share part of the wages. Also, if they want to expand in the future, they will adjust the shares, which is the increase of shares after financing." "I don't quite understand." Liu felt that he made the right choice to come this time. If he didn't know that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan really came to Changning to do business, he would have thought that the Millennium Chamber of Commerce was sent by the two of them. It was amazing that they guessed it before he finished speaking. And the person who guessed it wasn't Zhang Xiaobao, who was the best, but Zhang Xiaobao's little wife, Wang Wan. According to the popular saying, this was called a non-professional's understanding of the professional field. If she could guess it, what would Zhang Xiaobao do? Thinking of this, Liu stopped eating and looked at Zhang Xiaobao, hoping that he could say something. Zhang Xiaobao said helplessly, "You can ask Cuckoo about this kind of simple thing. The so-called increase of shares after financing is that you put in a copper coin and I put in a copper coin. Not counting the management shares, which are paid separately, I suddenly put in 3 copper coins. Then, you'll get 20% of the dividends from the original half. If I get 8 copper coins, you will get 10%. There are a lot of things in this, but what they mentioned is the simplest one. Normally, even if you really get 50,000 strings of cash, you can't get 60% of the shares. At that time, they will mention 2 points. One is the technology investment, and the other is the management investment. In the absence of a fair evaluation organization, the importance of technology needs to be observed through the reaction of the market. That is, the sales ratio between the products produced by the original technology and those produced by the new technology. But this is divided into short-term income and expenditure and long-term income and expenditure. There's a problem of market trends and saturation, so it is very difficult to judge. It is the same for management, especially in the area of sales and promotion. Normal sales channels and new sales channels can be compared. At this time, there is a problem, the problem of supervision. Without the management of various auxiliary departments, any surface profits can be changed by abnormal operation patterns. Therefore, the plan itself is full of loopholes. If they are kinder, Chongning County can exist as a free raw material supply base in the future, but it can also provide new jobs for the people. You can't just send troops to kill them. Of course, you have to have the right to send troops and a reasonable excuse. After Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, he sat there and drank his juice. Wang Wan looked calm, as if she already knew this. Li Yu and Li Sun were dumbfounded. They didn't understand. What a mess. They just wanted to make money. Why did so many things happen when shares were mentioned? It was too troublesome. Li Sun thought he had learned enough from Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Today, he found that he still had to learn. When he cooperated with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to do business, he didn't need to do so much. He just needed to invest some money, or he didn't even need to take any money. He just needed to help with the connections and government orders. Then he could wait to receive a lot of money. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't have anyone to help him improve technology, management, and sales. Now that he was in a different place and with different people, it was different. Thinking of this, Li Sun put down the wine glass in his hand and looked at Zhang Xiaobao. He said, "Xiaobao, your business with me. Let's not talk about this. You don't check the accounts, and we don't plan to cheat you. Why are the rules so strict? It's just that the sixth marquee business is not easy. Who knows what the other party is thinking?" Zhang Xiaobao didn't let Li Sun continue. If he really counted, Li Sun had helped Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan a lot during their most difficult times. That kind of wealth was immeasurable. Therefore, it was not money but friendship. Although Li Sun always wanted to take advantage of him, he and Wang Wan always tricked him. Li Yu also understood that the business in his county was a scam. Xiaobao and Cuckoo knew the whole story. It seemed that they had known about this kind of scam for a long time, but they didn't want to use it. The more Li Yu thought about it, the angrier he became. It was not easy to get a business deal, but he was still tricked. Li Yu slammed the table. "Do you really think that my identity as a member of the Imperial clan is fake? Brother, lend me some cavalry. I'll kill my way back." As he spoke, Li Yu stood up with a belly full of anger. He wanted to rush back through the night. "Stop right there. Do you want to use your identity to manage economic matters? You're not an administrative person. That only shows that you are incompetent. Economic attacks must be solved with economic means. Unless you admit defeat, then you can use administrative means to intimidate and pressure with your identity." Xiaobao. Seeing his brother act so impulsively, Li Sun was also angry. He scolded his brother and turned to Zhang Xiaobao. "Cooperation, 50,000 strings of cash. The sixth marquis will pay 10,000 strings of cash, Cuckoo, and I will pay 20,000, and the other 20,000. Zhang Xiaobao agreed and looked back at Li Sun. Chapter 722. Knowing that Zhang Xiaobao was willing to help, Li Yu finally felt relieved. He didn't believe that anyone could beat Zhang Xiaobao in this aspect. Smiling at Zhang Xiaobao in a friendly manner, Li Yu said, "After we make money, all the business in Chongning County will belong to you, Xiaobao. You can do whatever you want. I won't stop you. You should keep it for yourself. Don't always give it to me. I just want a little." The ceramic industry in CI, Zhou must be integrated. There must be at least 3 factories. They must share the technology with each other, but they must compete with each other. We can't have small kills everywhere. Those with money have no technology, and those with technology have no money. Let's not care about the iron. The imperial court is very strict. They are afraid that it will be used to make weapons. You better find someone to guard the iron. Don't let it leak out. We can slowly refine it when the time comes. Zhang Xiaobao just wanted to help. He didn't care too much about Li Yu. If he treated Li Yu as well as before, more people in the royal family would come to him. When the time came, He didn't want to be involved in the political whirlpool of the throne. That's good. Wei Wei felt a little regretful. He really wanted to pull Zhang Xiaobao over and make a large-scale investment there. He thought that with Zhang Xiaobao's ability and way of doing things, he could make the place prosperous quickly. Since he couldn't pull him, he could only give up. He lowered his head and began to eat. The box, which he thought tasted good, now tasted even better. Looking at the night sky, the people working on the shore, and the children laughing and playing, Li Yu's mouth curved up. The night lingered. Early the next morning, Li Yu couldn't sleep. He got up and walked around. He looked at the situation of the construction site and asked about the details. Considering the popularity of the set breeding in his hometown, he decided to go back and continue to work on it. He also wanted to find food crops that were beneficial to the development of his hometown. Zhang Xiaobao also opened his eyes. After wiping his face with cold water, he woke up and began to make breakfast for Wang Wan. Ever since he found that Wang Wan was not in a good mood, Zhang Xiaobao felt that he had to cook by himself recently. For breakfast today, he decided to make 8 treasures congee, which was mainly made of millet with a lot of red dates. The main dish would be red pond bean dumplings with a lot of sesame seeds. He would also fry 3 medium-rare poached eggs and 2 kinds of salty pickles that were mixed with sesame oil. As for Li Yu and Li Sun, he just asked someone to send them some salted vegetables. There were still fried fruits and soy milk outside, so he just had to make do with it. Wang Wan slept for a while, then got up. She stretched herself, yawned, and came down to freshen up. She asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Are we going to write a petition to impeach Feng Changgong today?" "No, we'll wait until Zhang Shuang's people come. At that time, we'll just sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. Let them argue with each other. Instead of taking the initiative to help them and making them doubt us, it's better to wait for them to come to us and take the initiative to discuss with us. I believe they all understand that whoever can win us over will have more weight in the balance." Zhang Xiaobao placed the food on the table one by one and sat there to reply. After freshening up, Wang Wan sat opposite Zhang Xiaobao. She looked at the food and smiled at Zhang Xiaobao. "I didn't want to eat it first, but when I saw that you made such a good breakfast, I have an appetite again. Look at you. Why did you have to make the steamed bean dumplings look like a panda? Next time, remember to make them look like a koala bear. Should we go back? If we don't see Baoxing County with our own eyes, I'll be worried. After all, that's our first administrative place. Yes, we'll go back tomorrow after we finish writing the proposal for Li Yu. We don't need to stay in Baoxing County anymore. Let's go back and see if the honeycomb coal is good to burn." Zhang Xiaobao pushed a bowl of porridge with many dates to Wang Wan. After thinking for a while, he asked, "Do you want to make a waist protection with mink fur?" "No, I'm not that delicate. Isn't there a lot of coal in Chongning County? We can directly smelt iron there. Let you have a try. You can first turn the coal into coke, then smelt it. Think of a way to blow the coal into the furnace. Who said that steel has to be refined 100 times?" Wang Wan ate a jujube with a face full of happiness. She picked up a fried egg with salt and said, while Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were enjoying breakfast, Li Yu, who was eating with others outside, felt very uncomfortable. After eating a big fruit, he felt that it was too hard and complained to Li Sun. "Fifth brother, why didn't you eat breakfast with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan? Don't they make the best food?" Li Sun glanced at him and said, "Since yesterday, Wang Wan has been a little uncomfortable, so Xiaobao didn't have time to talk to us. Eat the big fruit and soy milk are also good. Why don't you eat vegetable buns and tofu pudding? People should know how to be content. The county magistrate here, Feng Changgong, is not content. He doesn't eat what the people can eat. As a result, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan are angry and want to teach him a lesson. It won't take long before he is finished. I haven't seen anyone who can escape from the two of them." "Really? Isn't it too fake? Just because the county magistrate doesn't eat ordinary food, the two of them want to teach him a lesson. The world is so big. Can they teach him a lesson?" Li Yu had a strange feeling. Why did other people have to listen to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan? The world is big. Don't be afraid. What you are afraid of is that you will meet them someday. Don't let them meet you. Once they meet you, you are finished. You can't reason in front of them. What they say is the truth. Li Sun continued to scare his brother, hoping that he would eat more. Li didn't know that the conflict was not so simple. He thought that it was true and hurried to eat. He was afraid that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would remember him. If that happened, it would be difficult to do business in Changning County. After drinking 3 bowls of soy milk in a row and eating only 1 big fruit, Liu was full. He didn't know who fried the big fruit, but when he ate it, it was astringent. He guessed that it was because there was too much alum. The taste was not comparable to the box he ate last night. Li Sun was not picky. After all, he had participated in the wilderness survival training. Although it was a simplified version, he had suffered a lot. It was good enough to have something to eat. There was no need to be picky. After eating 3 big fruits, drinking a bowl of soy milk without sugar, and half a piece of stinky tofu, he rubbed his stomach and burped comfortably. Then he said to his brother, "Looks like I'll have to teach you what it means to survive in the wild. You haven't seen Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan." When the 2 of them arrived at Luzhou, they only had a saber with them. They didn't have any other supplies. Life was tough. They couldn't even sleep well at night. You should cherish them. Many people can't even eat big fruits. Liu had never suffered much. Even when he had no money, he was 100 times better than many people in terms of food and clothing. When he heard his brother mention wilderness survival, he asked curiously, "Isn't it a vacation?" "Fifth brother, aren't we traveling? You've already booked the 100,000 mountains. How can you still suffer? Besides, you should compete with others who are better than you. Why should you compete with others who are worse than you?" "I'm not asking you to compete. I'm asking you to experience it. How about this? I'll make a training plan for you later. You follow the plan. When the time comes, I'll find time to visit you. If you can't do it well, I'll ask Xiaobao to take away all your money. Do you dare to punish him with your identity as a member of the royal family?" Li Sun had his own thoughts, and he wanted his brother to know that it was not a matter of money. He had a lot of money, but he did not spend much on his daily life. At least, he did not enjoy much. Most of the money he spent was used to train the army. Liu listened to his brother's words and nodded helplessly. "Then I can't. It'll be very hard at the beginning. I have to get used to it bit by bit. If it really doesn't work out, I'll use all my money to buy land. I'm not afraid of other people's tricks." When he said this, Liu was not confident. He knew that if Zhang Xiaobao really did do something to him, it was useless to rely on his identity. Tell Imperial Uncle? That's good. Uncle will question me first. Then you can try. See if you can avoid Zhang Xiaobao's scheme by buying land. Eat a fruit. What's the use of drinking so much soy milk? You'll be hungry again after a while. Zhang Xiaobao will probably tell you what to do when you go back today. Remember, I think Zhang Xiaobao's plan has 3 options. The first is the best plan, which is to directly deal with the opponent. The second is the middle plan, which is to play along with the opponent and make them lose more. The third is the worst plan, which is to not take the initiative to attack and leave the opponent a way out, giving the opponent a chance to choose. This is especially true when the opponent is from Great Tang. When you're given the choice, you have to choose the worst strategy and give the other party a few more chances to start over. Don't kill them all in one go. If you do that, it's easy to change your mind in the future. Take Xiankai County's county magistrate, Feng Changgong, for example. In fact, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had given him more than one chance. If he thinks it through, go find Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and have a good talk. Both of them will stop. What people fear most is stubbornness. When Li Sun told his brother to eat more, he suddenly thought of something important and hurriedly told his brother. Li Yuan happily picked up a large fruit and put it next to his mouth, not wanting to open it. After hearing his brother's words, he put the fruit down. Seeing his brother glare at him, he could only raise it and ask, "Why don't you kill them with one blow and leave them behind?" "If it were me, I wouldn't give them any chance." If that's the case, they'll have a wishful thinking and still dare to oppose them in the future. At most, we'll just compromise and stop fighting. We should be merciless. What do you know? That depends on who you're dealing with. Have you been merciful to the Tubo people? It's not easy to think of such a plan. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan want to keep the talent. Don't think that it's the worst plan. They'll always give them a chance. However, if the other party can't think it through, they'll be like Feng Changgong and it'll be difficult to keep their lives. The more chances they give, the more vicious the plan will be. Listen to me and use the worst plan. If they still refuse to accept it, what awaits them is a bottomless abyss. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family have always been like this. If you don't believe me, take a look. Especially Xiaobao. He kills without spilling blood. Do you understand? Understood. I'll eat it now. Liu was frightened. He suddenly felt that the taste of the fruit was not bad. After eating, Zhang Xiaobao began to write a plan. Just like Li Sun, it was divided into 3 plans. He gave Liu the freedom to choose. In the worst plan, there were many chances for the other party to break free. It all depended on what the other party thought. Wang began to prepare things that she might need. She also paid attention to keeping warm and tried to calm her emotions. She reminded herself not to bring her bad mood to work. When it was almost noon, Zhang Xiaobao prepared a meal. He left a portion for himself and Wang and asked someone to give the rest to Liu and Wang. The plan was not finished yet. It was very troublesome. It was estimated that it would be finished at night. The people working were still as diligent as before. For the sake of their future lives and to allow their families to obtain more resources, they worked hard without complaint. Everyone was very calm. If there was someone who could not calm down, it would be Feng Changgong. Last night, he had also seen a group of cavalrymen coming over. After asking around, he found out that it was Prince Li Xian's sick son, Liu, who had come to visit his older brother, Li Sun. He could only see Zhang Xiaobao, Wang, and Li Sun together from a distance, but he did not know what they were talking about. In the past few days, he had always felt a threat by his side, but he could not figure out the reason. After seeing Liu last night, this feeling became stronger. As a result, he could not sleep the whole night. Even if he drank some wine and lay on the bed dizzily, he still could not fall asleep. As long as he closed his eyes, he would have nightmares. He could only open his eyes and ask someone to light the wormwood to drive away the mosquitoes. He opened the window and looked at the starry sky outside. When it was time for breakfast, he also got up. He did not have any appetite. After drinking a bowl of porridge, he could not eat anymore. It was the same at noon. He did not feel hungry. It seemed that he would be full even if he did not eat anything. The more he thought about it, the more uncomfortable he felt. He had no choice but to send a letter to the capital, hoping that there would be news soon. At this time, people had already set off from the capital. Cui Riji and Li Linfu took a boat to the south. Normally, when going to a place to work, they would need to bring along their family, but neither of them did. On this point, the two of them had the same idea. They would not stay long when they arrived at Shinsai County. One of them came specifically to investigate the old debts of Shinsai County, while the other came to find a way to stop it. It was a very simple matter. When the time came, it would depend on who was more powerful. The boat that the two of them took was from the Jingshui Boat Company. It would save them a lot of trouble if they were together. However, for the two of them, go to work together was the real trouble. In fact, Cui Riji looked down on Li Linfu from the bottom of his heart. He thought that his ability was too weak. However, he felt that Li Linfu was different from the person he had seen before. He did not dare to offend him easily. After all, he was now the county magistrate, while Li Linfu was the registrar. Although his position was high, the registrar also had the responsibility of supervision. If he found that the county magistrate did something wrong, the registrar could submit a report to the higher-ups, either to impeach him or to clarify the matter. Cui Riji definitely did not believe that Li Linfu would forgive him after he made a mistake. Moreover, when he submitted the report, he would not send it to the prefecture, but directly to the capital. At that time, it would be difficult for him to do anything. Of course, he could also supervise the registrar and directly submit the report to the capital. Thinking about what he had to do in the future and what he had to do well, Cui Riji could not stay still. He went to the bow of the boat and asked someone to bring him a chair to sit there. While feeling the river breeze on his head, he thought about the matter in his heart. He was also a third-ranked official, and he had people who specialized in strategizing at home. Under such circumstances, it was impossible for him to not bring someone with him when he went out. In order to better deal with the situation in Xiankai County, He brought along the advisor he felt was the best in the manor. When he sat at the bow of the boat, the advisor also moved a stool and sat beside him. They looked at the water together. It was unknown what the two of them saw in the water, but they didn't move at all. After a long time, Chui Riji sighed and said, "The water in this river always flows to the east. It has not changed since ancient times. However, the water that flows into this river does not necessarily flow from west to east. Most of it flows from east to west and then flows into the Yellow River. Do you think it flows to the east or to the west?" Chui Riji did not know why he said such a thing. After saying it, he realized that even he did not know which was better. After hearing Chui Riji's words, the advisor fell into deep thought. After a short while, he said, "That depends on what it flows to. If it has to enter the sea, then it flows from west to east. If it can't even see the sea, then it doesn't matter how it flows. After all, it needs to join a river. If it doesn't want to join, then it's not big enough. In the end, it will end up like a river in the desert. Today, it flows like this, and tomorrow it will flow like this. In the end, it won't even leave a name. It is a pity. Since it has chosen a river, then no matter how it flows, it will be fine as long as it flows to the other side. As for where it will flow in the future, just follow the river. Yes, it's fine as long as there is a river. However, it is not easy to follow a big river when there is a lot of water. If we encounter some obstacles, the water from a small river like us will rush to the front. It is very easy for us to collide and not leave behind a corpse." Chui Riji was just complaining that the people above him should not have arranged for him to be here. It was too difficult. Xi and Kai County was not only a battlefield for both sides to fight for. More importantly, there was also a dangerous place that could not be touched. That was Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Regardless of whether he was willing or not, he had to think clearly about how to win over Zhang Xiaobao and Zhang Xiaobao when they arrived at Xi and Kai County instead of going against them. That would definitely not benefit him in any way. The advisor next to him said, "So what if we collide? We can't always collide with the same river water. As long as we get through it, we can enter the sea together with the big river. Then, we won't have to worry about colliding with anything." Chui Riji nodded. At this time, he had also thought it through. Just as he was about to say something, a voice came from behind him. "Lord Chui, you are in a good mood. Sitting at the bow, do you feel that the cabin is too hot? I can't stand it. I don't know how their ship is made. I heard that their ship is actually very good. No matter how hot it is very cool to stay in the cabin." This time, they did not send such a ship. What a pity, what a pity. Chui Riji did not need to turn around and know who the person was. Just by hearing the familiar voice, he knew that it was Li Linfu. He stood up politely, turned around, and said to Li Linfu, "So it is Lord Li. I didn't feel that the cabin was stuffy. I just wanted to come out and get some wind. After all, in the cabin, the wind is too weak. Even if I open the window, it is not big enough. It is not as good as the bow. When the wind blows, it is as if I can fly. Others are afraid of the wind, but I am not worried at all. Yes, the wind at the bow is good. Unfortunately, I can't get too much wind. I cry when I am blown too much by the wind. In fact, I want to not be with the wind. But many times, I can't help it. If I can stand behind Lord Chui can help me block the wind and rain. That would be even better." Li Linfu followed Chui Riji's words. No matter who looked at him, his face was sincere, making people feel that his words were credible. To be honest, Chui Riji did not know much about Li Linfu. Looking at Li Linfu, Wei Wei was stunned. Then, she said, "I just said that some water can flow directly into the sea from west to east. Some water has no choice. As long as it can meet a big river, it doesn't matter how it flows. I don't know what Lord Li thinks." "Ah, water? Yes, Lord Chui is wise. I didn't think of this. Indeed, as Lord Chui said, many times, you can't enter the sea just because you want to. Sigh, I don't know why, but when I heard Lord Chui's words, I felt uncomfortable. Perhaps I am like the small river that can't enter the sea. No matter how hard I try, I can't do it. Forget it, I will flow as I should. If Lord Chui has a better river, please tell me. Maybe you and I can flow together. At that time, I will rely on Lord Chui's help." A trace of helplessness flashed in Li Linfu's eyes. After saying this to Cui Riji, he turned around and was about to leave. After walking a few steps, he suddenly stopped, turned around, and said to Cui Riji, "I heard that the county magistrate of Xiankai County, Feng Changgong, has offended His Royal Highness, Commander Prince Tang. When we get there, I'll cooperate with Lord Cui to teach him a lesson. Commander Prince Tang is not an ordinary person, and he rarely makes mistakes. I think Feng Changgong did it on purpose for his own benefit." After saying this, Li Linfu walked step by step toward the cabin. Cui Riji, who had no connection with fools, was stunned for a while. Then, he suddenly smiled and said to the advisor who had been silent, "It seems that Yuan Rong's side is not very close. Otherwise, why would Li Linfu be willing to surrender? Do you think we should let him do something when we get to Xiankai County and see how he does it?" The advisor raised his eyebrows and his ears twitched. He said, "You can't judge a book by its cover. Also, we can't make a decision easily. Fortunately, the journey is long. We can see more in case we choose the wrong person and leave a disaster behind." Chapter 723. 2 days later, Liu was preparing to go back. During these 2 days, whenever Zhang Xiaobao showed up, he would follow Zhang Xiaobao and ask him about the details of the 3 plans Zhang Xiaobao gave him. Zhang Xiaobao did not refuse. As long as Liu asked, he would answer in detail and give examples so that Liu could understand better. Although 2 days were not long, to Liu, it was like seeing a new world. In the past, he had heard of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's reputation. One could be said to be a scholar, and the other a martial artist. Each had their own strengths. Many people said that the scariest thing was not meeting one of them. This was because if you only met one of them, then if the whole country worked together and did not think about taking advantage of them, there might be a way to resist. However, if you really met the 2 of them together, there would be no more chances. This was because the 2 of them grew up together. Their cooperation was called tacit understanding. Some people felt that it was very good to be able to understand each other with just a glance. However, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang did not even need to look at each other. Even if the 2 of them were separated, they could understand what the other was going to do and cooperate with each other. The most direct feeling was that in the 2 days that they stayed, Wang ran to the riverside at noon on the first day. She did not even say a word before she was with Zhang Xiaobao. When it was time for lunch, Zhang Xiaobao went to prepare something. It was a basin and some salt, but there was nothing else. At this time, Wang ran back and happily told Zhang Xiaobao that she had caught a lot of prawns and wanted to eat salted prawns. Then, she directly put them in the basin and cooked them for everyone to eat. At night, Wang ran to the river again without greeting anyone. She still asked Zhang Xiaobao about the details together. When it was almost time to eat, Zhang Xiaobao went to get some garlic sprouts and eggs. When Wang came back, she said that she still went to catch prawns and wanted to eat dumplings at night. Then, Zhang Xiaobao began to use the things he took out to make dumplings. The next day, Wang ran out at noon. When she came back, she was carrying a big fish in her hand. Zhang Xiaobao was not around to prepare lunch. After Wang heard that, she put the fish down and found a few children to make mud. When Zhang Xiaobao came out with charcoal, the mud was already ready. Zhang Xiaobao directly poured seasoned wine into the fish's stomach and wrapped it in mud to burn. With such cooperation, there was no need to look at each other. The 2 people did not need to see each other at all. They did not need to communicate with each other to know what the other was going to do. One was a scholar, and the other was a martial artist. This was the real combination of 2 swords. More importantly, if it was really a scholar and a martial artist, it would be fine. The problem was that Zhang Xiaobao was not bad at martial arts. When they were really close, he always stood from the angle that he could protect Wang the most. At the same time, when talking about military affairs, he was better than himself. Needless to say, Wang was even better. When Zhang Xiaobao was talking about the plan, she would add on from the side and explain the things that she did not know. Who was the one who said that Zhang Xiaobao's martial arts were not good enough, and Wang's literary skills were not good enough? Only by really interacting with the 2 people could one understand their abilities. Even when talking about academic matters with them, Wang Wan was not worse than Zhang Xiaobao. These two people could not be offended. He felt sorry for Feng Changgong. He could have provoked anyone, but he had to provoke Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Moreover, when there was a way out, he still insisted. When he was about to leave, he actually came to curry favor with him and gave him a gift worth 300 strings of coins. He wanted to bribe him with 300 strings of coins. Why didn't he bribe Zhang Zhong with that much money? There were too many, so many that it was a little scary. Young master, it's already noon. Should we find a place to eat? Just as he was thinking about Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and felt scared, the guard captain next to him came up and asked. Liu broke away from his thoughts just now. He looked at the sky and said, "It's noon so soon? Aren't we going the way we came? Did you see any hotels around when you came?" In reply to young master, "There is no decent restaurant, only a small restaurant. Are we going there? I mean, why don't we change direction, walk a few more steps, and find a good restaurant to eat? The food in a small restaurant will definitely not taste good." The guard captain suggested with concern, hoping to walk along the fork in the road ahead and look elsewhere. Liu thought for a moment and shook his head. No need. Go to the restaurant and ask if they can make food for 300 people. Simple food is fine as long as it can fill my stomach. So what if it's a restaurant? Can the food made by the chef there be better than Zhang Xiaobao's? Don't be so picky. Many of Fifth Brother's guards had followed Wang Wan to Tubo to fight. When they were there, they fought with their lives on the line every day. How could they have the time to think about what to eat? Even if it's tree bark, they still have to eat it. Are my soldiers really that bad? I don't dare. I'll send someone to ask. The guard captain really did want to eat something good for himself and his brothers, but after hearing Liu's words, he didn't dare to mention it again. He hurriedly ordered someone to ask in advance while he followed behind Liu. He secretly decided that when he returned, he would train his subordinates well. Normally, when he met the prefectural army, he would think that they were not bad. After returning to Xiankai County and seeing Tang and Royal Prince Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's bodyguards, he finally realized how big the gap was. It took him about 3 days to reach Tang and Royal Prince's bodyguards. In the last 2 days, he had a few matches with Tang and Royal Prince's bodyguards. One of them could beat 2, 2 of them could beat 5, and 5 of them could beat 15 of his bodyguards. The more people there were, the better their cooperation. The real competition was between Royal Prince Tang and his guards who didn't follow Wang Wan. Those who passed the test couldn't be bothered to fight with people like him. Those who were unconvinced when to find trouble with him. In the end, it was 5 against 1. 3 of them were knocked unconscious and 2 of their joints were dislocated. The other party still had that kind of disdainful look in his eyes, but no one dared to challenge him anymore. His attacks were too ruthless, and it was completely different from their usual training. Every move he made was a killing move, and he fought with his life on the line. When had they ever seen such a thing during training? When 5 people beat him up, he was clearly hit in the face. If it was a normal practice, he would have dodged. However, he took it head-on and paid the price of 2 teeth. He defeated 2 people in 1 move and acted as if he didn't care. Ruthless, really ruthless. He was ruthless to others and ruthless to himself. This was a fucking person who came back alive from the battlefield. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's guards didn't make a move either. Someone suggested a competition, and the other party made his people sign the life and death agreement. They said that they had never competed with others outside. There would be blood if they fought. The reason was that they weren't skilled enough and couldn't control their weapons freely. These 2 types of people made his people lose so badly that the young master was unhappy. At that time, his face was as dark as water. If he still wanted to eat something good today, he would probably be taught a lesson when he returned. Liu also prepared for this. Embarrassing. It was too embarrassing. If they couldn't beat Fifth Brother's people one-on-one, it was even worse when they worked together. What was the point of having such guards? Did they have to specifically find people who weren't as good as them to fight? What if they had to go outside one day? Did they have to run for their lives? If Fifth Brother's cavalry was led by Wang Wan, they should be the ones running for their lives. He didn't have to say that he was that good, but at least he didn't embarrass himself too much. It turned out that those who were good at hunting might not be good at killing. As he thought about it, Liu felt that he should train his guards on the way back. When the time was right, he would show fifth brother that he wasn't bad and was also very hardworking. Li Sun didn't know what his younger brother was thinking. When he sent his younger brother off, he gave him a lot of canned food so that he could eat it when he didn't feel like eating. It wasn't easy to see each other. They were family, but he couldn't show it. This time, they were in Xian Kai. If they met in the capital, they would be treated differently. He was the loneliest in a big group of brothers. Fortunately, he met Xiao Bao and Cuckoo at that time. Otherwise, he didn't know what would have happened. After sending his younger brother off, Li Sun turned around and found Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. At this time, the two of them were also planning to leave. Li Sun was reluctant to leave. After thinking for a while, he said, "You guys are going back. Wait for me for a few days. I'll take a look at the situation here and come to your side." That day, someone came to report that honeycomb coal was good. "Why don't you send some to my county? I'll use it too." "Yes, I have to go. There's still things to deal with in the county." Cuckoo is also homesick, so I'll probably have to ask for leave to take her to Luoyang. Honeycomb coal is actually nothing. You can look for coal mines in your county. If you don't have any, you can look around and make your own. It's very simple. Zhang Xiaobao also knew that there was no such thing as a banquet that lasted forever. He solemnly said some words to Li Sun, telling him to speed up the preparations so that they could leave as soon as possible. Wang Wan was getting more and more sleepy recently and always wanted to sleep. They had to go back and let her see her family. At that time, she would be comforted. She would be fine after this period of her menstrual cycle. That night, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan set off to leave, leaving Li Sun alone to continue watching. He wanted to find a pattern that did not follow. "Xiaobao, we won't be sending people gradually. This time, Li Linfu will also come. I really want to see what he looks like." It said that no matter what he faces, he is always so calm, giving people the feeling that he is very sincere and reliable. Then, as long as he has the opportunity, he will take action against people who have a grudge with him. He's very insidious. On the way back, Wang Wan said to Zhang Xiaobao, "So what if he's insidious? The main thing is that he is very capable. Otherwise, it's useless to rely on insidiousness. What's the point of looking at him? He's just a small official secondary class, rank 4. I really don't put him in my eyes. If you give him a chance, he can go up. If you don't give him a chance, he can forget about moving up. If you don't hate him, then suppress him. Even if he is really different from what is written in the book and is a good person, you can still suppress him. Who can this world not revolve without who?" Zhang Xiaobao tried to say something to make Wang Wan happy, so that he could adjust her mood. "That's right. As long as I'm not satisfied with him, no matter who he is, I'll deal with him. But it's best to see when the time comes. If he's really capable, even if I can't let him run to a higher position, I still have to use him. Not all people are good people." Wang Wan was happy as expected. She agreed and proposed to observe Li Linfu carefully. No one was perfect. If the other party was capable, then he could be arranged to a place where he could show his ability. "Okay, I'll listen to you. Are you still sleepy? Why don't you come to my horse? We can walk slowly." Zhang Xiaobao was indifferent. "It's okay. I will be fine in a few days. When the time comes, you can't bully me." Wang Wan was recalling her previous physical condition at this time. She was tired, sleepy, and could eat a lot. "I want to, but I'm not as fast as you." "No, I've decided to eat more mutton and dog meat when I go back. If there is a need, turtle and ginseng can also be eaten." Zhang Xiaobao urged the horse and said jokingly, "Then you can wait to eat ice cream every day. Don't run so fast. I still want to see the surrounding scenery." Wang Wan also urged the horse to catch up with him. In Buixin County, many people had started to learn how to make honeycomb briquettes. Carriages of briquettes were sent here, and the people made them at home according to the method given by the yamen. Old Man Pai and the other two also made a few by themselves. They were going to use them for barbecue when the time came. They wanted to see if there was any difference between the honeycomb briquettes and charcoal. If it was more delicious, then there would be more reasons to advertise. "I will make a few more holes on the sides of this honeycomb briquettes. This way it will burn faster. Old Man Chong took out the honeycomb briquettes from the pressed mold and used a small wooden stick to continue inserting holes where there were no holes. Old Man Pai and Old Man Yao did not have as much free time as Old Man Chong. After the two of them took out the honeycomb briquettes, they looked at each other and did not care about the briquettes anymore. Instead, they talked about the recent events. The imperial court sent Li Linfu and Cui Riji over. One of them is on Zhang Shua's side, and the other is on Yuan Rong's side. I reckon there will be a good fight when they arrive at Xian Kai County. Old Man Pai said to Old Man Yao while washing his hands in the basin. Old Man Yao rubbed some soap on his hands and thought for a while. Actually, it doesn't matter who they send. Feng Changgong is finished. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo really hold a grudge. Even if Yuan Rong wants to protect him, he won't be able to. If he doesn't, it might be better. If he really does protect him, then Yuan Rong will easily fall into his trap. The news sent over a few days ago already stated that other than Feng Changgong going to apologize to Xiao Bao and Cuckoo himself, no one can help him. Unfortunately, it is impossible for him to go over. When the time comes, I just hope that Li Linfu will be smart. Otherwise, once he is protected, he will not have a good time. What 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors? Is that something that others can casually talk about? Don't look at it as just a few words. It can kill. Now I understand. If Xiao Bao and Cuckoo want to do something, just follow them. Don't oppose them. If you really want to oppose them, then do it through normal means. Any evil means is useless, and you will also get yourself into trouble. The 2 little guys will do this. Maybe they are waiting for others to do the same. Old Man Yao rubbed his hands until there were a lot of bubbles. While washing his hands, he looked in the direction of Xian Kai County. Yes, Feng Changgong won't be able to escape. Other officials can't be too relaxed either. Xiao Bao asked someone to send a letter last time, saying that there is a problem with the registrar of Xian Kai County. He asked us to keep an eye on him, especially to find a way to convince the imperial court not to act rashly and alert the enemy. However, we still have to send capable people to keep an eye on him. Also, Li Sun's younger brother, Li Yu, also came 3 days ago. Isn't he now in Chongning County of Ciizhou? What is he doing here? Is he short of money? Ask for some money from me? After washing his hands to his satisfaction, Old Man Pai wiped his hands and said, I don't think it's that simple. Maybe they are secretly discussing something. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo didn't mention it in the letter. We can ask them when they come back. As long as they're not thinking of joining forces to rebel, it's fine. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo are coming back soon, right? Old Man Yao snatched the towel from Old Man Pai's hand and looked at Old Man Chong, who was still trying to insert the holes. He shook his head helplessly. Although Old Man Chong was inserting holes, his ears were not idle. He was still listening to the conversation between the two. When he heard Old Man Yao say that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were coming back, he immediately interrupted. When they come back, I must ask them why they didn't insert more holes in the honeycomb coal. Isn't it said that the more holes there are, the better the fire will be? If all the coal is blown into the fire, it will burn even better, Old Man Pai retorted. Just as the 3 old men were talking back and forth, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also entered the county. When the 2 people appeared, all the people who saw them revealed happy smiles. Whether it was the 2 people's abilities or the 2 people's appearance, they all made people feel comfortable. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan couldn't just pretend that they didn't see anything. As they walked, they returned the greetings of the people around them. From the entrance to the yamen, the journey that should have taken less than a quarter of an hour actually took them an hour to walk. Some people even gave Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan the eggs that they had just cooked and didn't have time to eat. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't refuse. They took the eggs and rode on their horses, peeled the skin, and ate it bite by bite. Even if it didn't have any saltiness, they ate happily. Not all officials could make the people give them eggs voluntarily. It had nothing to do with the price. Only those who were approved by the people could do it. This was also considered an honor. After an hour, when Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan arrived at the entrance of the yamen, Wang Wan's bag was already full. Zhang Xiaobao also used his clothes to carry a lot of things. The two of them didn't stop eating. They walked and ate. The only thing they regretted was that they shouldn't have eaten in advance. They should have starved for 2 meals. Grandpa Bai, you haven't eaten yet, right? Let me peel a goose egg for you to eat. Wang Wan finally found someone who could help her. When they arrived at the entrance of the yamen, Old Man Pai and the other 2 people were playing mahjong next to the drum in front of the door. Recently, no one played the drum. They didn't need to care. This position was good. It could help to block the sun. If anyone was happy, they could beat the drum to express their feelings. The people seemed to be used to it. After the early cases were dealt with, there wasn't much to do in the county. Everyone was busy getting rich and didn't have time to do anything else. The thieves also found their own jobs. They were skilled workers. They were required to have nimble fingers. Wang Wan jumped down when she saw the 3 old men playing mahjong. At the same time, she knew that there wasn't much to do in the county. The yamen's entrance was still pasted with the pictures of the day. It let the people know how much they earned, how much they spent, and what they spent on. There was also a plan to spend money in the future. If the people didn't agree, they had to point out the drawbacks. It was best if they could come up with a better solution. Once the solution was accepted, they would receive a medal. In the future, they would be able to come to the county and give their opinions. Old Man Pai's forehead was full of sweat. Zhang Xiaobao watched from the side. He probably lost. Otherwise, he wouldn't be like this. Sure enough, Old Man Pai looked at the goose egg and said to Wang Wan, "Do you want me to dye saltiness? Have you ever seen a boiled goose's egg? It's all salty things that are pickled." Grandpa Bai, gambling is wrong. What's even more wrong is venting your anger on others when you lose the bet. Who said that goose eggs have to be salty? Mine is bland. As long as the people find it pleasing to the eye, they won't care about it. If you don't believe me, you can try it. As Wang Wan spoke, she knocked on the goose egg and opened it, revealing the inside. It was indeed bland. It was probably because when the news of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returning to the county spread, someone immediately ran home to boil the goose egg and gave it to them. If the goose egg wasn't salty, it wouldn't taste good. However, no one would say that this kind of goose egg was bad. Who didn't know that salty goose eggs were much more expensive than chicken and duck eggs? Looking at the goose egg in Wang Wan's hand, Old Man Pai said with jealousy, "I said that I'm a minister, and I'm from the Ministry of Revenue. In the end, no one said that they would give me something. This time, you guys came back to welcome me. I'm sad. Xiaobao, come and help me win a few rounds to comfort me." Zhang Xiaobao didn't expect to encounter such a problem as soon as he returned. Looking at Old Man Pai's anticipation, then looking at Old Man Yao and Old Man Chang's warning eyes, he finally decided to make someone sad. Thus, he said to Old Man Pai, "Grandpa Bai, my stomach suddenly doesn't feel well. I'll talk about it later. I'll go in first. It's just that I haven't eaten goose eggs on the way. Grandpa Bai, you have to remember to eat. If you lose, then lose. Money is just a worldly possession. Cuckoo, let's go." "What money? We're playing stickers. I've already lost 20. I'm going to stick one on my face tonight." Zhang Xiaobao, who was leaving quickly with Wang Wan, heard the business behind him. His ears twitched, and he forgot about it. 2 days later, Cui Riji still ran to the bow of the ship and sat there. He would only return to the cabin when it was time to eat and sleep. Otherwise, he wouldn't stay there. It wasn't that it was uncomfortable to stay there, but because the wooden walls of the cabin weren't soundproof. When he wanted to say something to the advisor, he was always worried that someone would hear. Of course, the bow of the ship wasn't soundproof either, but he could see other places. If someone approached from behind, he could immediately change the topic to prevent others from hearing what he wanted to say. After leaving the capital, they traveled down the river at a very fast speed. However, it was impossible for them to reach Xiankai County in a short period of time. Unless they reached the shore now and rode a fast horse, they would have to take the military rest stop. Of course, that was impossible. Cui Riji also didn't want to reach Shinsai County now. Today, he also asked the advisor to sit at the bow of the ship. Seeing that there was no one around, he said, "What do you think of Li Linfu these 2 days? Can you make him one of our people?" The advisor had been carefully observing Li Linfu these 2 days. He wanted to learn more about him through his daily life. In the end, he found that Li Linfu seemed to be very kind to everyone. He always had a smile on his face and didn't get angry with anyone. Even if the advisor deliberately sent someone to say a few unpleasant words in front of Li Linfu still looked so amiable. If that was really the case, it would be a very good thing. However, the advisor was worried that Li Linfu was a person who looked one on the surface but was another person behind his back. This kind of person was actually the most terrifying. No one could know what he was thinking. Now, many people on the ship, including the boatmen, were very kind to Li Linfu. Even the ship's cook specially made some good food for him. Other people didn't have the opportunity to receive such benefits. He didn't know why the people on the ship of the Zhang family and Wang family had become like this. They had flattering smiles that made people feel disgusted, making people feel very uncomfortable. What? Can't you see it? Seeing that the advisor next to him didn't speak for a long time, Cui Riji asked again. At this time, the advisor said, I always feel that something is wrong. Logically speaking, a person with a good temper like Li Linfu's can't be promoted to his current position. Such a position can be obtained by just anyone. Right now, many of the people on the ship have been bought over by him. He doesn't need to use money to buy people over. He just needs to lower his status and smile a bit more. Why don't you learn from him and win over the people on the ship first? That way, when you need them in the future, it will be more convenient. Cui Riji also thought so. He didn't understand. Logically speaking, Li Linfu, who should be very tough, should have been able to stabilize his position long ago. When the time came, he could have whatever he wanted. At least, he didn't need to gather others to his place to discuss bad things. When he got there, it was time to use people. Now, Li Linfu was not gathering people. He was not like himself, who would run to the bow of the ship, look at the running water, and bask in the sun. Instead, he hid in the house all day long. No one knew what he was thinking about. After hearing the advisor's words, Cui Riji thought about it and said, If I ask him, do you think he will be willing to surrender to Galai? After all, there is a lack of literati in that place, let alone enter Jishin courtyard. Give them a place to enter and let them fight for it. Don't you think it will deepen the conflict between them? This was a very bold idea. When they were still on the ship, Cui Riji was ready to educate his people. It would be best if he didn't let more people participate. After dinner, he would call everyone to his side to show off his knowledge. He had already planned that as long as someone was willing to come and show off, he would get 20% of the income of an advertising tablet. It didn't sound like a lot, but if one really had the ability to get it, the reward for this position would definitely be a lot. However, there was also a range. He would not do this all the way to Shinsai County, which was the advertising tablet on the ship. The advisor actually wanted to persuade him again. He could tell that Cui Riji had never planned to give up on this matter. He wanted to pull Li Linfu to his side, but he didn't know the real situation yet. Now is not the time to make a decision easily. Fearing that Cui Riji would do something wrong, the advisor advised, My lord, you're still too impatient now. It's better to wait until we reach the place and see what he will do. Otherwise, once he makes a mistake here, the one who will suffer will be you. Oh, that's fine. Then let's leave him alone for now. I will find time to talk to him and then make a decision. Cui Riji also knew that he couldn't speak rashly. If he really did, people would think that he was too easy to talk to, so they weren't afraid of him. Just as the two of them were talking about Li Linfu wandered out of the cabin like a ghost and stood in the same position as that day. He said to Cui Riji and Li Linfu, What a coincidence, I just passed by here. I didn't expect to see you two again. Are you two idle? Cui Riji thought that this was nonsense. If he wasn't free, why would he be busy? He looked at Li Linfu and replied, Sir Li, to be honest, I really want to be free. Unfortunately, I can't. Even though we haven't arrived at Shinsai County yet, we still have to go there one day. If we don't know enough, it will easily make the people unhappy. Therefore, this official asked the people at home, If I could find out more about that place, it would be much more convenient for me to do things once I arrive there. Unfortunately, I was in too much of a hurry and forgot to bring a map. I can only think about it now, and asked for more details after we get in the car. Of course, Chui Riji couldn't tell Li Linfu the purpose of his visit here. He casually found an excuse and prepared to make arrangements for the next step. He didn't expect Li Linfu to be so much more prepared than he was. After hearing his complaints, Li Linfu took out a piece of paper and handed it to Chui Riji. "Here is a map for playing games. I don't know if Master Chui would be able to use it. I think this map is pretty good. If we get to Xian Kai County, I'll draw more maps if I have the chance. From there, I'll find a better way to develop that place." After hearing Li Linfu's words and looking at the game map he took out, as well as his peaceful appearance, Chui Riji suddenly had an indescribable feeling in his heart. There was admiration, appreciation, and vigilance. If he only looked at this person's expression, he would be very easy to talk to. Moreover, he was well prepared. If he worked under Chui Riji, it would be a very good situation. However, at the same time, it also made Chui Riji worried. Why did he think of bringing a map? Although the game map wasn't as good as the military map, it was still better than nothing. While Chui Riji was thinking, Li Linfu still had that peaceful smile on his face. He said to Chui Riji, "Sir Chui, I feel that the first thing we should do when we arrive there is to meet Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. We also can't leave Prince Tang behind. As for the local people, there is no need to worry. The people who have the final say over there aren't the county magistrate and registrar of Xinsai County. After discussing with Zhang Xiaobao and the other two, we will go together. If we can find out more about the situation over there from other people, it will be easier to investigate. To be honest, when I came out, the higher-ups told me to pretend that I didn't know anything and to protect someone if I could. However, on the way here, I thought a lot. If I protect those who should be protected and those who shouldn't be protected, it will be a disaster. I also dislike officials who treat the people badly. Why don't we first meet Zhang Xiaobao and the other two when we arrive there and listen what they have to say? Then we will ask the people and finally go to the yamen. If everyone treats Feng Changgong badly, Sir Chui, you will investigate in front and I will follow behind. I will not let any bad guys go, even if it means offending the higher-ups." When Li Linfu said this, he did not try to hide it from the others. Everyone on the ship heard it. They all looked at Li Linfu with a hint of respect. A good official. He clearly knew many things, but he did not do as he was told. Instead, he really thought for the people. A good official. Chui Riji was also stunned by Li Linfu's words. Li Linfu's words were too direct, and he didn't hide anything. He just stated what he was thinking and what he should do when he arrived there. From Chui Riji's point of view, Li Linfu's words were words of surrender. Li Linfu wanted to lean on his side. He really didn't know whether to rope him in now or continue to wait. He looked at his advisor. The advisor was also very confused. He carefully looked at Li Linfu, who was standing there with a sincere expression. He didn't find any treachery, so he nodded to Chui Riji and Wei Wei, got up and walked back first. Chui Riji understood that this was a tacit agreement formed before. Chui Riji wanted him to follow the words first, then find an excuse to go back to the cabin and continue the discussion. Thinking of this, Chui Riji said to Li Linfu, "If Sir Li can really think like this, that's great. I also think that we can't just listen to one side of the story. Even if Commandery Prince Tong and said that Feng Changgong is bad, we still need to ask around before we can come to a conclusion. I will go back and write a plan. Then, I will ask Sir Li for help." After saying this, Chui Riji had an excuse to leave and walked back to his cabin. Li Linfu seemed to agree. He said behind him, "Sir Chui, you have worked hard. I actually have a plan here. Why don't we put it together later?" Another person who used to be a county magistrate saw that the people on both sides had become friendly. He lowered his head and thought for a while. He said to himself, "I don't think it's that simple. It seems that I have to think of something." Chapter 724. The sky was rosy, and the sun reflected the flowers. The dew was slightly cold, and occasionally a lone crow would fall from a tree. The fog from last night gradually dispersed in the morning, and a red sun like an egg yolk first covered the east with a beautiful veil. Then it jumped out on its own, and the clouds changed with the wind. If one stared at it for a long time, one would think that there was a group of ducklings standing in a neat row, following behind the mother duck. In Lesa City, it should have been a place where a slave master or a noble lived, but it had been changed into a place with rich rural scenery. A small river flowed through the large courtyard, and a wooden house sat on the opposite bank. A small bridge spanned over the river, and under the bridge, the water gurgled, and ducks and geese mingled on the water surface. With a creak, the door of the wooden house was opened from the inside, and a girl with a pot in her hand walked out. She went to the stove outside, lit a fire, and began to boil medicine. As she boiled, she said, "You said that my medical skills are not good? Let's see what you would do without me. A big man, you look strong, but you fall sick every 2 to 3 days. Me fan, wake up and cook. If you wanted to cook every day, can't you just buy 2 people? Look at you 2. One is sick, and the other is taking care of you." He said that he was not acclimatized to the climate, and asked him to go back and find someone else, but he refused to leave. "I'm the one doing all the work. Miss Gio, can't you just do it while you're at it?" Before seeing anyone, Mi Fan heard the noise. She walked out of the house with a large lump of gunk in the corner of her eye. As soon as she walked out of the house, she shivered and went to another stove to collect dust and set up firewood. Gio Mei Lung looked at Mi Fan with dissatisfaction and complained, "Why do you have to do all the work? I have to manage the accounts every day. I have to sell chickens and ducks, and I have to buy livestock. It's so cold in the morning, and it's so hot at noon. If I stay here, I'll get old." That's right. It's not like we didn't know when we came. It's just that Brother Han is suffering and can't take it anymore. It's time to open the lottery today, right? We'll have to fork out a lot of money again. Also, it's time to collect the money from the entertainment venues for this half a month. You've contributed the most in this regard. Those people who came to cause trouble were all poisoned to death by you. Mi Fan set up the firewood, drew a fire from under Gio Mei's cold stove, lit it, and went back into the house to get things for breakfast. Wash your face first. Otherwise, you'll be the only one who's going to eat all the feces in the pot. Patient Han, are you awake? Squeak, and I'll serve you. I've come so far, and I'll have to live a hard life with you. Gio Mei's hot and cold medicine was almost done. She said something to Han, Xianfeng, and Mi Fan, then put a cloth on the pot and prepared to send it into the room. Squeak. A short squeak came from the room. Gio Mei Lung looked up at the sky. "I wonder if anyone can win the lottery today. I'll be back in a month. I won't come here anymore. I'll stay in Sanshui County. It's more comfortable there." When Gio Mei Lung poured the medicine into a bowl and brought it to Han Xianfeng was already dressed and leaning on the bed with a slightly yellow face. "Sorry to trouble you again, Miss Gio. This is probably the altitude sickness that young Master Song repeatedly emphasized when he came here. I didn't expect that everyone else will be fine except for me. Fortunately, the red ginseng pills were sent from Wing Province. Otherwise, I would have really died here," Han Xianfeng said to Gio Mei Lung apologetically. Gio Mei Lung blew on the medicine and tasted it herself. When she felt that the temperature was about right, she brought it to Han Xianfeng and didn't let him drink it. She insisted on feeding him herself. "I owed you in my previous life. It's too hard to live with you. Go back quickly and live a better life." Han Xianfeng didn't know what to say. In the past, he could always retort when Gio Mei Lung said something like this. But now, he couldn't say anything. He opened his mouth and drank the entire bowl of medicine, then ate the Danshan pill. He let Gio Mei Lung put a blanket on him and close his eyes to rest. "The meal will be ready soon. Don't go out today. Stay at home. I'll give the money to someone else." After wiping Han Xuanfeng's mouth and checking his pulse, Gio Mei Lung turned around and left the room. Han Xianfeng, who had nothing to do, just leaned on the bed and kept thinking. Ever since they were sent to take revenge on the economy, the 3 of them had rushed all the way from Izhou to Tubo. After some discussion, they decided not to stay anywhere else and directly went to Lesa. It was an eye-opener. There were few commoners and many slaves. The whole of Tubo was a tribe made up of slaves. There were a few times when they were almost in danger. Thanks to Mi Fan's ability to make people speechless, they managed to escape. They sold the food they brought and built a place for entertainment. In fact, it was a place for brothels and gambling. They bought beautiful girls and taught them how to cheat. They added a lot of new gambling activities. They could cheat money and also bet things. They didn't know what young Master Song was thinking. He actually made the prettiest girls not accept the money directly to accompany others. Instead, he had to win the bet first. There was something wrong with this. But this method was very useful. More and more people came to gamble. With this kind of cheating method, the people who came lost more than one, but they still came like a flock of ducks. When they had more money, they bought a big courtyard here. It turned out that it was Tatata's courtyard. He was now living a good life in Tang. It was fate. Later on, they started to do public relations with the other local tribes and gradually stabilized. After the spring festival, they created a lottery. They earned more and more money, but there was a lot of trouble in the process. Fortunately, they had Mi Fan and Jiu Mailing's poison skills. Only then did they get rid of the source of trouble. Before they could continue to work hard, they fell sick. Only then did they know that the three of them were not fighting alone. The Zhang family also sent people. First, a very powerful local noble came to visit them. Then, all kinds of things were sent to them from Idyll. With the help of a big noble, things went smoothly. At the beginning of spring, they bought eggs from Pengzhou. Some of them were newly hatched eggs, some of them were eggs that could be hatched, and some of them were duck eggs and goose eggs. They began to teach the locals how to make a big stall. They were in charge of providing the goods, saying how good they were so that they could find people to prove it. As for the eggs, they sold them under publicity. They also sold a lot of chickens and ducks at a low price. They also taught others how to make poultry. They lied and said that the Tang emperor ate this and asked them to raise them. They also gave them the secret breeding method. They were really worried that the emperor would find out and arrest them. Impressive. Zhang Xiaobao's vengeance was no less than Wang Wan's. Who would have thought that a matter that could improve the lives of the common folk of Great Tang would turn into a vicious scheme just because of the addition of a secret breeding formula? No matter what kind of food was planted, there had to be a shelter between every 3 ridges. It could be a wooden board or a cloth curtain. Then, the bees and butterflies in this place would be caught, mashed, and mixed into food according to the proportion. Then, they would feed the poultry. It could only be done at the beginning of spring. It was said that the chickens and ducks raised in this way would be less troublesome and live longer after eating it. If one wanted to plant paddy fields, they would need to catch toad buds. This was the thing that the little tadpoles used to find their mother in the children's books in Sanshui County. If this wasn't enough to show how poisonous Zhang Xiaobao was, then one could tell from the soil in the newly opened egg transport truck from Pengzhou Pass that Zhang Xiaobao had actually ordered people to look for places where there were a lot of locusts last autumn and then dig out a layer of soil from there. When they reached Tubo and were slightly further away from Great Tang, they would scatter the soil along the way. When they were almost done, they would send the final batch to Lesa City and scatter it in the surrounding fields or dry areas. There were also some that were sent over from the desert. If number 1, who played tricks in Jianan Circuit back then, were to find out about this, he would probably regret it to death. Of all people to offend, he just had to find trouble with Zhang Xiaobao. Then, he would send the animals that he bought at a high price to Jianan Circuit through another route. The good ones would be kept while the bad ones would be killed for meat. The price was very cheap, saying that it was a subsidy to the people. The price of the eggs was also very cheap. When he bought the eggs, he would use the money he earned to pay for it. It was called a foreign trade subsidy. It was said that when summer came, Jianan Circuit would purchase poultry from Tubo. However, they would only sell it within Great Tang's borders. They would use food to exchange for it. As long as the poultry were sold, they would have to pay more taxes. This was used to balance the subsidies and prevent Tubo from dumping their poultry into Jianan Circuit. In any case, he wasn't able to figure out the meaning of so many words. He just had to follow the instructions. What are you thinking about? Here, I put the food here for you. You can eat it yourself. Mi Fan and I are going out to do something. After you eat, you can sleep for a while. We'll be back at noon. I reckon that Sonrigan will be here today. I'll leave the matter of discussing the transportation and price of the butter to you. Jiumei's cold voice interrupted Han Xuanfeng's mental activities. A bowl of milk with a layer of milk on it was placed in front of Han Xianfeng. There were also several fried eggs. Han Xianfeng could only eat this for breakfast and couldn't eat too much. At noon, there would be butter cakes, and at night, there would be cakes baked with sesame oil. These had just been delivered the day before yesterday, from Lingnan Circuit to Pengzhou. Unlike the oil made from frying pepper, sesame oil was a good thing. It could strengthen one's body. There was very little of it. In order to ensure that Han Xianfeng could return alive, Jiumei quickly sent it all the way here. When he left, it would be sent by pigeon, and when he returned, it would be sent to a military post. Smelling the rich fragrance of the milk, Han Xianfeng nodded. Be careful outside. I know. You're the most dangerous one right now. Let's go. Jiumei left him with this sentence and followed Mi Fan out of the house. The ducks and geese outside, who had been playing in the water since morning, saw that their owner was about to cross the bridge and surrounded them. Go, continue playing. Someone will come to feed you later. Jiumei coaxed him a few times. As she walked across the bridge, she said to Mi Fan, you go to the entertainment center. I'll give him the prize. Come back early. I don't know why you want so much butter. I don't like it. It's too greasy. It's not for adults. The young master said that after we buy it back, we'll make cakes for the children in school. There's also cheese and yogurt. If we could transport fresh milk back, we would have bought it long ago. Mi Fan was still sleepy and yawned. Chapter 725. When Mi Fan and Jiumei went to do their own things, Han Xianfeng finished his breakfast and began to think about how to trick people. After a while, the sound of poultry came from outside. Han Xianfeng knew that someone had come. He sat up straight and waited for the person to come in. Brother Han, I'm here. The goose you raise is not big, but it's so fierce. When the door opened, a Tubo man came in with a stick in his hand. He must have used it to drive the poultry away. You broke my goose. You have to pay for it. Han Xianfeng was very familiar with the person who came in. He had seen him both here and in Sanshui County. It was Sanri Nigan, the one who sold carrots. After he came here, he met him in the casino by chance. At that time, he just watched and didn't participate. The person he hired to watch the casino watched for a while. He felt that this person didn't look like someone who came to bet, so he reported it to him. Now that they met, it was like meeting an old friend in a foreign land. Since then, when he had nothing to do, Sanri would always come over and talk about how his chickens were doing and ask about the changes in Sanshui County. Since he got sick, he came here more often. He even asked someone to treat him, but it didn't work at all. If you want to talk about compensation, then I want you to compensate me. Originally, I was the only one who raised a lot of poultry. Now that everyone else is raising poultry, it's hard for me to sell them. I have to go to Sanshui County and ask someone. Sun Rignigan complained back, then carefully looked at Han Xuanfeng's complexion and said happily, you look like you're going to get better soon. You're so lucky. In the past, the slaves they caught from Tang and the Tang people who came here by trade didn't survive once they got sick. Of course. Who do you think I am? When I get better, I'll be able to soar into the sky. Han Xianfeng also knew that his illness was not that serious. He asked Sanri Nigan to sit down and bragged. I heard that it has nothing to do with you. The Zhang family mobilized a lot of good things for you. They even sent a doctor to hide somewhere. Others may not know, but you can't fool me. Sun Rinnigan said enviously. He was happy for Han Xianfeng from the bottom of his heart. He found a good family to rely on. Although he had a lot of slaves here, not many people were willing to help him when he was in trouble, let alone spend a lot of money after he got sick. Han Xianfeng smiled and didn't refute. Instead, he asked, how are the poultry you're raising? Why don't you sell it quickly? Otherwise, it will be troublesome when the time comes. How's the field? Han Xianfeng knew that even though Sanri Nigan was from Tubo, he didn't care about Tubo. He was just a small slave owner here. In the past, he was often ostracized by others. It was only now that things were better, so he could talk to him more. As soon as Sun Rinnigan heard Han Xianfeng ask about his family, a worried expression appeared on his face. What Han Xianfeng said was right. Ever since many people started to buy chickens and ducks to raise, The people around him who had a good relationship with him started to have their own ideas about him again. 2 large food stalls appeared in the city. Although they only sold hairy eggs and chestnut eggs, they also had a big impact on their own business. Those who wanted to sell chicken and eggs were not as enthusiastic as before. Their income suddenly decreased by a lot. But what could he do? He could not let others raise his chickens. He only hoped that the people sent by Sanshui County could think of a new way to make money for him. I've already made century eggs according to the method you taught me. I'm going to sell them after a while. Century eggs with tofu are very delicious, and you don't have to worry about them spoiling. They could be eaten outside. Think of a way to send me more salt. I'll make some salted eggs. Sanri Nigan had a total of 2 methods, which was to make century eggs and salted eggs. At the same time, he also knew what Han Xianfeng and the other 2 wanted to do, but he didn't want to tell others. The good or bad of others had nothing to do with him. Moreover, even if he found others and told them that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were coming for revenge, they might not believe him. Now that Lesa City was forbidden to talk about these 2 people, even if they believed him, the credit wouldn't fall on him. Who let him have so few slaves and a small territory? Han Xianfeng thought for a while and replied to Sanri Nigan, "We can't send too much salt now. The Jianan circuit is too strict. When autumn comes, it should be enough. If you have a lot of eggs, give them to your slaves to eat. Only when they eat well can they have the strength to work. They are eating. Other slaves only have 1 meal a day. No matter what they eat, as long as they can fill their stomachs, it's fine. My slaves have 2 meals a day. If they still have to work at night, I will add a midnight snack. I have a lot of children, so each of them has 2 fried eggs a day. It's much better than other slaves. But I have a lot of them, so no matter how much they eat, they can't finish it. After a while, I'll have to kill some chickens for them to eat. They're already old and can't lay eggs, so I can only eat them. I also made a lot of dried chickens, but I can't sell them. Why don't you help me buy some of them? The price can be cheaper." Sanri Nigan sat down and felt that his mouth was dry. He didn't need to trouble Han Xianfeng and started looking for tea leaves in the house. He even went to the kitchen to get a pot of water and washed it with a big bowl while complaining. He wasn't wrong. The slaves in his house definitely ate better than other people's slaves and even better than most of the commoners. In the beginning, there were more than 300 slaves working for him, but now there were nearly 1,000 people. Some of them were willing commoners in the past few years, and some of them were the children of the slaves. So now there were a lot of children waiting for them to grow up to work. They had to be well taken care of when they were young and cultivate their loyalty. Sanri Nigan could do this because he learned from the 2 Zhuangzi families of Sanshui County, Zhang Li and Wang Zhuangzi. There were so many farmers, and in fact, there was no difference between them and slaves. But when they worked, their enthusiasm was not comparable to ordinary slaves. Later, after observation and understanding, he found that treating the slaves well seemed to be spending more money, but it was very worry-free. The bodies of the slaves were strong, and they were not easy to get sick. They also had strength when they worked, and their loyalty was also improved. 1 slave could do the work of 2 others, and 2 slaves could do the work of 5 others. After calculating the investment and output ratio, it was still more cost-effective to raise the slaves stronger, especially when they were not completely farming. There were also other breeding industries, so the slaves were very useful. It was precisely because of this consideration that Sanri Nigan began to treat the slaves well. He did not let the slaves starve. At least, he gave them highland barley to eat and meat to eat every few days. Every child under the age of 12 was given eggs. When the slaves were full, they could work better. In addition to raising poultry, he also raised a lot of cattle and sheep, which were all fed by the slaves. He did not have to worry about the slaves suddenly defecting. As long as the slaves wanted to escape alone, it was easy to get into trouble. But if he talked to others to escape together, they would report it. With more money, Sanri Nigan also bought a lot of weapons to arm his slaves to fight against the people who were jealous of him. Now, when Sanri Nigan saw that his team was increasing, he finally approved of the practice of treating the slaves better. After drinking a bowl of tea, seeing that Han Xianfeng still did not agree, Sanri Nigan said, "Can't you sell dried chickens?" "Yes, but it's useless. Let me tell you, the customs tax is going to be raised soon. Plus the transportation fee. You can't make any money. If I let you transport the chickens, want to harm you? How about this? You sell the poultry as soon as possible, and only keep the food for yourself." The Zhang family is owned by a lot of dairy products, milk chips, cheese, butter, and a lot. As long as you have them, you don't have to worry about not being able to sell them. The price is not low, and you don't have to pay taxes. Follow the name of the Chamber of Commerce there. This is called smuggling. You have to hurry, lest you regret it later. After hearing Han Xuanfeng's words, Sanri Nigan poured water for himself again and asked worriedly, "Is it going to be a fight?" Zhang Xiaobao came first to fight an economic war, and then Wang Wan came with the army? Then what should I do? I have always been on good terms with you. It was no wonder that Sanri Nigan was afraid. Now, even if they did not allow people to mention Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, they could not stop people from talking about them in private. It was because the people in Tubo did not allow others to talk about them, which made the two of them even more highly. It was as if the two of them were to fight. The whole of Tubo would be finished. What are you thinking about? Fight? With what? The young master and the young lady went back to be officials. Two ninth-rank officials with no military power. Han Xianfeng felt that Sanri Nigan was a little suspicious. Sanri Nigan waved his hand and said, "Don't lie to me. It's easy to not have military power. You give it away just like that. Tell me, what do you want to do? If it really doesn't work, I will move away to Idyll. If you really don't want to fight, then see if you can get food while you still have money. Save it up and use it. When autumn comes, there will be a shortage of food. Don't let so many of your slaves starve. Do you have 3 rows of wooden planks and rags to separate the land in your house?" Han Xianfeng assured him again that they would not fight, but he also revealed some information. Sanri Nigan shook his head and said, "No, it's too troublesome. My poultry is not as good as your emperor's. Now that other people's chickens are still young, I can sell them. When their chickens and ducks grow up, I will think of other ways. You said not to raise them, so I will listen to you and start buying in large quantities. Then I will raise more cows and sheep and harvest more food. I see that the food this year is growing well. There will be a big harvest in autumn. Won't I lose money if I buy more food? If I lose money, I will go to Sanshui County and ask your master. I will say that you lied to me. Big harvest? Dream on. This year, Tubo still has to trade for food from Tang. I suddenly thought of something. You also have land, right?" Han Xianfeng looked at Sanri Nigan and asked, "Nonsense. How can I not have land? I even planted a lot of barley and 200 mu of rice. Why? Can I earn money from the land?" Sanri Nigan was a small landowner. He had more than 1,000 slaves. How could he survive without land? Then sell it quickly. Don't plant it anymore. If you sell it now, you can get a good price. Didn't you already plant something? Sell it. Don't delay. When the time comes, change it all into local specialties. Also, sell your house. Bring your slaves to the east of Jinchuan, the west of Tang, and feed them well. After Han Xianfeng gave the idea, he remembered that locusts had wings and could jump. They would not just stay in one place. If things went wrong, Tang might have to prepare to exterminate the locusts. If Sanri Nigan farmed here, he would lose everything. In the first few years, there was a plague of locusts in Tang. The higher-ups spent a lot of effort to exterminate them. Now, Tubo was in trouble. When the locals saw so many locusts, they would kowtow and offer incense. By the time they realized that the locusts were gone, it would be too late to send an army of livestock. Sanri Nigan did not know the specific situation. When he saw Han Xianfeng asking him to sell his land, he looked at Han Xianfeng carefully. "Do you have a grudge against me? If the land is gone, what do you want me to do? If the land is gone, you can buy it back. But if the harvest fails this year, or if the harvest is reduced by half, not half. Even if the harvest is reduced by 20%, it will be over. If the weather is bad again, this year will probably be worse than last year. Listen to me, I won't lie to you. Han Xianfeng knew that he could not say too much to Sanri Nigan. How do you know that the harvest will fail this year? Sanri Nigan had to understand. Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a hunter called Halabu. One day, he went hunting and saved so he could understand the language of the wild beasts. In the end, he turned into a stone man. Han Xianfeng could not say that Zhang Xiaobao had used a desperate measure here. He could only choose to let Sanri Nigan believe him. After hearing this, Sanri Nigan sighed. So you are that Halabu? Do I really have to sell it? Or else I will suffer a huge loss. Sell. You helped the Zhang family transport a lot of good things here. All kinds of spices and things that Tang does not have. You gave the Zhang family a lot of benefits. Even if you don't make money by moving to another place, the Zhang family will not let you suffer a loss. That's all I have to say. Don't say that I didn't tell you when you don't hear it. Han Xianfeng said seriously to Sanri Nigan. Sanri Nigan's expression turned serious. He nodded. Okay, this time I will believe you. I won't let you turn into a stone man. I will sell it when I get back. When I go back, I will buy other animals and raise them along the way. I will go to the east of Jinchuan. If I don't move there, I will be worried that people will find trouble with me. The sky is cloudy and looks like it's going to rain. I thought that it would rain at night. Brother Han, you will feel uncomfortable again. Do you want to eat something? It's okay. I am much better today. I will drink some sugar water mixed with alkali and vinegar later. I will be fine. If you have something to do, go quickly. Don't worry about me. Han Xianfeng also realized that the weather had changed. The weather should have been getting hotter, but now it was a little cold. Sanri Nigan knew that even if he did not stay, someone would come to take care of Han Xianfeng. Thinking about selling the land, he helped Han Xianfeng pick up the bowls and then left the house. Outside, the chickens were running around in the open space. The slaves bought to feed them called out to them and led them to the shed in case they fell ill. Mi Fan had already collected half a month's worth of money and had people transport it back. There were all kinds of things in the cart. There were copper coins from Tang, local coins, silver, gold, and even jade. When the gamblers were out of money and jealous, they would take out whatever they had to pawn. Whenever they pawned something valuable or memorable, they would ask people to remember the name and place of the owner. If the owner's family was capable, they would have to take the initiative to return the pawned item. For example, the jade pendant that had been passed down for hundreds of years would be troublesome to keep. Jiao Meiling had not started the lottery yet. She was waiting for the others to arrive in the restaurant she bought. It only started when it was almost noon. The restaurant had already prepared food and wine. At this time, regardless of whether one won or not, whether one was happy or sad, one would usually need strong alcohol to comfort oneself. The items for the lottery were put away. The people who came early drank butter tea or milk tea while eating snacks while waiting for others to hurry up. They all hoped that they could win at least once. In fact, it was fine even if they did not come. There were too many people buying lottery tickets, and the restaurant could not accommodate all of them. They just came to be witnesses. When the time came, the lottery would post the winning numbers and let others know. While Tubo and Han Xianfeng were busy with the plan, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had already returned to Luoyang. They saw their family, followed by Xiao Bei and the rest of the kids. They wanted to leave their brothers and sisters, as well as their parents. In Baoxin County, Hiwei had many things to do. Suddenly, 2 people were missing. One was missing, and for such a long time, a lot of work was on him. Fortunately, during this time, the people in the county did not have many complaints to complain about. Otherwise, he would have to solve cases. Today, he once again posted the revenue and expenditure of the county to the entrance of the yamen, explaining the current situation to the people. After he finished talking about the financial matters, the people were preparing to leave. He said, "Don't go yet. There's one more thing. Right now, there's a place where the scenery of the Tang dynasty is placed. Soon, there will be a place from another place that will come. This official feels that the roads in the county are not good enough. In some places, even if the people nearby help to fix them, it is still very inconvenient for the carriage to travel. This official is prepared to take out 1,000 strings of coins to widen the narrow roads. What do you all think?" If it was in the past, he would use it if he wanted to. There was no need to discuss with others. Now he could not. He had to let the people know about the benefits and disadvantages of spending money, even if it was just a small portion of the people. As long as the majority of the people who knew about it agreed, then it could be implemented. If the majority did not agree, then he had to do some thinking, which was very tiring. Not only was he way tired, but the other officials in the county also had to work. Hearing that he was going to take out 1,000 strings of cash, the people looked at each other and hesitated whether to agree. It was not a lot, only 1,000 strings of cash. County Magistrate this old man wants to ask, do Registrar Zhang and County Deputy Wang know about this? An old man stood out from the crowd and asked He Wei, who was waiting for the people to answer. They don't know. I thought it myself. He Wei really wanted to do something by himself. He could not always listen to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He was already an adult. Why couldn't he be a county magistrate and be a county magistrate? It was not like before, when he wanted to be greedy and wanted to take advantage of others. He was also thinking for the sake of Boixin County. In the end, if he first mentioned this matter to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and the two of them agreed, then the people would also agree. If the two of them said that they would think about it, then the people would not agree. Looking at the old man who asked, He Wei could not lie. He had no choice but to tell the old man the truth. In his heart, he was thinking that it was over. His proposal would probably be rejected. As a county magistrate, sometimes he was happy, sometimes he was depressed. He did not know what Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were thinking. How could they let the people decide? What did the people know? If they did not know, why did they have to explain it to them? So it was county magistrate his idea. I don't know about other things, but I agree with building roads. In the future, when it becomes more prosperous, there will be more people coming and going. We also need to divert a river. When the time comes, there will be more merchants and rich people. If the roads are narrow, it will delay things. Just when Iwei thought that his idea would not be approved, the old man who asked the question agreed. The young man standing beside the old man also said, I think it should be built. In fact, we don't need 1,000 strings of coins. Everyone, find some stones and transport them over. We just need to find the place where the roads are to be built. There is no need to pay. After the spring plowing, there will be many idle people. With two people agreeing, the other knowledgeable people also agreed. They unanimously said that they should first take out 1,000 strings of coins. Everyone should try to think of ways to save money. When the time came, they should not spend all the money. After saving the money, they could still do other things for the county. When He Wei, who was originally feeling very sad, heard everyone's words of support, his eyes suddenly lit up. He nodded vigorously and said, Then let's do as everyone says. I'll take out 1,000 strings of coins first. When the time comes, I'll take out as much as I need. Even if I don't get paid, I still need to prepare meals. I'll arrange it now. After saying that, the happy He Wei rushed back to the yamen to check the map. He planned on listing the various places that needed to be fixed. Old Man Pai and company did not go to Luoyang with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The two of them would be returning in a few days, so there was no need for them to go back and forth. When they saw that He Wei's suggestion had received the support of the people, they also revealed knowing smiles. I was really worried that He Wei would fail this time. If that happened, he would lose confidence in doing things in the future. I never expected that he would actually receive support. Old Man Chang was also very happy, as he said from the side. Old Man Bai, on the other hand, was staring at the dispersing crowd. Among them, there was an old man and a young man who had spoken earlier. The two of them were walking together, whispering something to each other. At this moment, Old Man Yao spoke. Chapter 726. Xiao Bao, this place looks really good. What do you think it would be like if Dongzhu didn't burn this place down? After returning to their home in Luoyang, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to look at Luoyang. Although it couldn't be compared to the current Chang'an city, it had a different charm. Wang Wan looked at the people coming and going on the road and asked Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao didn't think about this at all. When the news from Tubo came back, he was worried about Han Xuanfeng's illness and whether he needed to send someone to bring him back. If he wasn't worried that Han Xuanfeng's sick body would easily worsen the bumpy road, he would have brought him back long ago. Since he couldn't adapt to the plateau climate, he shouldn't stay there. Even if he survived this time, it was easy to leave behind hidden dangers. When he heard Wang Wan's voice, he didn't react for a moment and said, "Let's end this quickly. When he comes back, he can recuperate. We won't send him there in the future." "What do you mean we won't send him?" "I'm asking you about burning down Luoyang." Wang Wan knew that Zhang Xiaobao was distracted again. As more and more things happened, Zhang Xiaobao's mind was wandering more and more. He had to take care of both big and small matters. It seemed that she had to think of a way to change this habit of his. What about her subordinates? If she had to take care of them, they would be exhausted to death. Zhang Xiaobao knew what Wang Wan was talking about this time. He smiled and said, "If it's burned, then it's burned. As long as it's built better, who cares what it was like in the beginning? Wei should be doing well there. It's been arranged. As long as he asks for something, support him first. Even if it might not succeed, I'll think of another way. Who knows? There's no news yet. Don't worry about this matter. Look for some snacks. Take some specialties." When Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao bringing up another matter, she hurriedly interrupted him and pulled him forward. From time to time, they would stop to look at what the people on the roadside were selling or go into a shop to take a look. After wandering around Luoyang for an entire day, the two of them were tired from walking. After eating, Wang Wan didn't go straight into the house like before. Instead, she went to chat with her mother, leaving Zhang Xiaobao alone in the house. After some thought, Zhang Xiaobao prepared to look for Xiaobei and the others to tell them stories. However, when he saw Xiaobei and the others, he realized that they were telling the adults the stories they had heard during this period of time. Zhang Xiaobao had no choice but to find another place to stroll. After walking around a few times, Zhang Xiaobao realized that he couldn't find anything to do. He could only return to the house, light another lamp, and practice his calligraphy. At the same time, he waited for Wang Wan to come back so that they could discuss other matters. He waited for 2 hours. Time passed very quickly while he was practicing calligraphy. Zhang Xiaobao didn't realize it until someone came to tell him that his wife wasn't coming back to stay. Only then did Zhang Xiaobao realize that it was already very late. He took a bath and prepared to sleep. The moment he laid down, he felt uncomfortable. He tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep no matter what. The insomniac Zhang Xiaobao thought for a moment and finally knew what he was missing. He sighed. Sometimes, habits are the most unbearable. Sleep, relax, relax, and relax again. The next morning, everyone woke up. Wang Wan also found Zhang Xiaobao. She said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Let's sleep separately for the next few days. I have to get used to it." Get used to what? Zhang Xiaobao was very uncomfortable. He always felt that something was missing when there was one less person beside him. What else can I get used to? When I was chatting with my mother last night, my body already had a reaction. Wang Wan suddenly felt a little embarrassed. Zhang Xiaobao didn't think much of it. "I thought it was something else. Isn't it just that you have grown up? Okay, you get used to it first. Do you need a supplement? Anything? Jujube, saffron?" "No, I have already prepared everything. I will sleep with you at night after I get used to it." Wang Wan was like a different person. She became shy. After she finished speaking, she didn't accompany Zhang Xiaobao. She turned and left. He didn't know what she was busy with. Zhang Xiaobao, who felt very uncomfortable, shook his head and said to himself, "Isn't it just a small matter? Women, I really don't understand. When you grow up, time passes so quickly. It's like yesterday. Do I have to go through the troubles of growing up again?" Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not the only ones who were troubled. In the Four Seas Academy, Yamamoto was also very troubled. Even though he had already grown up, a few days ago, he heard from the people who went to Baoxin County to inquire about something called honeycomb coal that could save firewood. After that, he began to feel vexed. For 2 days in a row, his mood wasn't good. He couldn't get back the 2,000 strings of cash he had bet in Baoxin County. If it was when he first went there, it didn't matter if he had the 2,000 strings of cash or not. At that time, he had a lot of money. Now that he had no more money to spend, the 2,000 strings of cash also became important. There was also the land he bought. He couldn't get a single copper coin from it. Every year, he still had to give a sum of money to the county. After all, it was originally said that it was used to open up wastelands and change fields. There weren't any discounts. If he sent people to cut down trees, he still had to give out a portion of his living expenses in the academy. His days would become even more difficult. Yamamoto, who was in a gloomy situation, felt that the hot weather was extremely uncomfortable. He drank 2 large bowls of tea in a row, but he still didn't feel cool. He walked out the door and looked at the students walking back and forth in the academy's empty courtyard. In a daze, he seemed to have come to another world. Yamamoto, why don't you sell the land in Baoshin County? You can still get some money to use. The lives of the people from our country here are getting worse and worse. Just as Yamamoto was daydreaming, Yamamoto, who had also heard the news, popped out of nowhere and said to Yamamoto, "Sell? No, we definitely can't sell it. If we sell it, our losses will be even greater. That place is developing, and the land will be very valuable in the future. I estimate that we just need to wait for another 2 years. No, 1 year, and the price we bought it at that time will double." It seemed that Yamamoto didn't study here for nothing. He even understood this principle and rejected Yamamoto's suggestion. In fact, Yamamoto had also thought of this problem, but he also knew that if there wasn't enough money, many people from his country here wouldn't be able to study in peace. It wasn't easy to come here, so he had to seize the opportunity, so he insisted. That little money won't be considered money after a year. The important thing is now. It will take a few months for the money from our country to be sent here. If we survive, will we still be afraid of a lack of money? Yamamoto didn't say anything. He also understood that now was the time to use money, but he just couldn't accept that none of the plans he had designed had succeeded after arriving there. They didn't seem to have done anything specifically against him. They were just busy with the construction of people's livelihood. As a result, his plans had failed one after another. This kind of psychological blow was the most important. Seeing the determined Yamamoto's serious look, Yamamoto finally compromised. Sell it. Send someone over and find someone to ask. Try to sell it at a high price. It will probably be very difficult because the firewood there is no longer valuable. We will be satisfied if we can sell it for capital. Yes. Yamamoto happily agreed and hurriedly went to find someone to discuss the matter of selling the land. He was in charge of the lives of people from China, while Yamamoto was in charge of the external affairs. Because he didn't have money, he was under a lot of pressure. Of course, Yamamoto was also under a lot of pressure, but he couldn't make both of them uncomfortable. Looking at Yamamoto's back as he left, Yamamoto was no longer daydreaming this time. Instead, he lowered his head and thought about how to make more money. He didn't have to think about using a lot of money to make a lot of money. As long as he could make the people from China live a better life, he had time because he didn't have to continue learning what the academy taught him. If he wanted to learn, he had to learn something better. Yamamoto, why don't you use the forest land as a mortgage in exchange for money? When the time comes, the forest land will still be ours. Yamamoto was deep in thought when another person came over and said to him, "Who will mortgage it with? That's a lot of money. When the time comes, even if the forest land doubles, it probably won't be enough to pay the interest. Sell it. It'll save me a lot of trouble. Tomorrow, I'll go out and have a look. I'll do some small business nearby. I don't know what kind of business is good to earn." It wasn't that Yamamoto hadn't thought about it, but he realized that he had to pay more. He had to admit that all his plans in Baoshin County had failed. He wanted to buy some goods and then set up a stall here. He could be considered a person. When he had so much money but no money to use, he was willing to set up a stall for the people in his country. Ordinary people didn't have such thoughts. "Yamamoto, can you get the people from Shinlua to give us money? I found something. When I woke up the night before yesterday, I saw a few people from Shinlua gathered together to discuss something. Guess what they said? They actually want to make a move in Changning County. There's also someone from the Tang Empire's imperial family there. They're going to get some benefits from there." The person didn't leave. Instead, he suddenly told Yamamoto a piece of news that shocked him. After the person told the details of the matter, Yamamoto suddenly felt that the other party seemed to be doing better than him in Baoshin County. You're saying? Yamamoto lowered his voice and asked. Yes, we're using this to threaten the people from Shinloa. If they give us money, we'll tell them about this and make them fail, the person said excitedly. Yamamoto's eyes also lit up. Just as he was about to agree, he suddenly frowned and shook his head. No, we can't go and tell them. Once we say it, I'm worried that they'll stop and not give us money. We won't get anything. It's just that they won't get anything either. I want to see if Tang Empire's Zhang Xiaobao is really that powerful. Was his previous success all a fluke? I'm waiting for Tang Empire to lose once. When that time comes, will Tang Empire suddenly turn hostile? Yamamoto suddenly felt a little unwilling to accept his failure. He wanted the people from Shinloa to teach Tang Empire a lesson. Even if he didn't succeed, he would know that Tang Empire wasn't invincible. Although the people from Shinloa didn't directly confront Zhang Xiaobao this time, Zhang Xiaobao had already expressed his meaning very clearly. That was as long as Zhang Xiaobao was in Tang Empire, everyone had to be honest. Don't think about using crooked methods to plot against Tang Empire's people. Once the Marquis realized that something was wrong, he would probably go to Zhang Xiaobao and see how Zhang Xiaobao would deal with it. When the person heard this, he also felt that this was the case. However, he had other suspicions in his heart. He suspected that Yamamoto wanted to use others to pull Zhang Xiaobao down from the altar. This was because many people were saying that there was one person missing from Tang Empire's top game rankings. A person who was above them was Zhang Xiaobao. Even if he defeated the number one person, as long as he hadn't fought with Zhang Xiaobao, it wouldn't be considered a victory. Yamamoto was clearly letting others take the lead. Therefore, he said, Yamamoto, you don't have to worry about this failure, as long as there's still a chance of victory. What did I fail? Didn't I just take the technology of turning radishes into ginseng? No matter what method it is, as long as it succeeds, it's a victory. It's just that after buying seeds, radishes, and thermometers, I don't have any money. I also bought the cement that was sold outside Tang Empire. Did I fail? Yamamoto said unhappily to the person who came. It meant that he had succeeded, even though he had obtained the technology secretly. If you didn't fail, then don't ask the people of Shinloa for money. If Yamamoto wants to do business, I'll do it with you. What else could the person say? He could only agree and express his support for Yamamoto. Just as the two of them were about to do some small business tomorrow, another person who was collecting information in Baoshin County rushed over. He walked in front of Yamamoto and looked around. Seeing that no one would hear him, he whispered to Yamamoto. According to a reliable source, Liu went to Baoshin County just recently. According to reliable sources, Liu went to Xian Kai County a while ago and then left happily. I don't know what they were talking about, and I don't know who leaked the news, but before I came, someone from the Zhang family came to find me and said that they wanted me to tell Yamamoto that if Yamamoto wanted to do some business, they were willing to provide a way. Yamamoto was stunned, then shocked again. He was stunned because he couldn't understand why Liu had gone to Baoshin County. He was shocked because the Zhang family not only knew where the person he had sent there to gather information was, but they also knew that he didn't have any money. Yamamoto suddenly had a feeling that there were no secrets. It was as if everything he had done was in the other party's eyes. This feeling made him feel very uncomfortable. Of course, no one would feel comfortable in this situation. Taking 2 deep breaths, Yamamoto asked the person who came to report, "What are the conditions?" "They want our land in Baoshin County. They said that as long as we give them the land, they will tell us how to earn money. We will definitely be able to earn as much money as our fleet will return in a short period of time." The person replied. Without waiting for Yamamoto to speak, the person who had come over to talk spoke first. "Yamamoto, I think we should agree. Who doesn't know that the Zhang family and Wang family have a lot of ways to earn money?" Yamamoto's brows furrowed even tighter as he looked at this person with great dissatisfaction. He slowly said, "What if their method of making money can only make a little money, or even not make any money at all? What should we do if our land is gone? Also, why are they in such a hurry to get a few pieces of land? Could it be that they have a bigger plan?" The person who was about to agree didn't expect to have so many questions. He smiled awkwardly and said, "Then don't agree. If we have to do business tomorrow, we'll do it ourselves. If we don't agree, what if Zhang Xiaobao is afraid that we will sell the land?" So he deliberately proposed a method to exchange for it, so that we can continue to keep the land so that he can set a trap for us. Yamamoto now felt that anything could happen to Zhang Xiaobao. He couldn't advance or retreat. He was extremely vexed. When the two of them saw that Yamamoto had said everything, they didn't say anything else and waited for Yamamoto's decision. Yamamoto put his hands behind his back and began to walk in circles. After taking a few steps, he would stop, shake his head, and continue walking. Only when the two of them were confused did he stop and instruct the person who was scouting for information in Baoxing County. Go back immediately and find the person who discussed it with you in the Zhang family. Ask them if they want to buy it directly with money instead of the recipe. Yes. The person answered, turned around, and hurried away without resting. After watching the person leave, Yamamoto turned his head and explained to the person standing beside him, if the Zhang family agrees to buy it with money, it means that they have a use for those pieces of land. If they don't agree, it's very likely that they're digging a trap for us to jump into. Go back and study hard. You don't have to worry about the business. The person nodded and turned to leave. He went back to review his homework. On the way back, he was still thinking. According to Yamamoto's words, it wasn't bad, but what if Zhang Xiaobao could guess Yamamoto's thoughts and deliberately use them? After thinking for a while, he finally couldn't think of a better way. He quickened his pace and returned to his room. This room wasn't for free. It was 30 strings of coins a month, 1 string of coins a day. It was very expensive. The person who was working in Baoxing County rushed back as fast as he could. He found Erniu, the person who was now in charge of the matter, and told Erniu about the matter. Erniu didn't look surprised at all and said to the person who came, "You can buy it if you want. If it's too expensive, we can't do it. Our family really can't spare the manpower to do new business. Otherwise, it wouldn't be your turn. The price we offer is half of the original price. If you want to sell it, sell it. If you don't want to sell it, you can exchange it with the recipe, or you can think of other ways." The person in charge of the intelligence already knew Yamamoto's thoughts. He thought that he could get some information from Erniu, or at least understand his attitude towards the woodlands. He didn't expect that Erniu would be lukewarm. If he said that he wasn't in a hurry, he would always mention the woodlands. If he said that he was in a hurry, he would try his best to lower the price. What was going on? How about this? Let Yamamoto come here personally. There are many things that you can't make a decision on as a messenger. It's a waste of time to go back and forth. Erniu saw through the other party's thoughts and said to him. The person who came sighed and nodded helplessly. He could only run back to the Four Seas Academy. Going back and forth would take a long time. After the person left, Erniu chuckled and muttered, "You guys definitely didn't expect this, right? This matter wasn't ordered by the young master at all. I was just looking for some interesting activities when I had nothing to do. It doesn't matter if I sell the land or not. The main thing is to make you guys feel uneasy. You guys have nothing to do anyway. Xiao Bao, move inside." Zhang Xiaobao was prepared to sleep alone today. When they both lay down, Wang Wan suddenly appeared. She stood beside the bed and pushed Zhang Xiaobao with all her strength, making him move inside. "How many days have you been there?" Zhang Xiaobao moved and looked at Wang Wan as he asked. "I didn't sleep well over there. It's troublesome to discuss some things. I heard news today that Li Linfu is about to arrive. There's also Cui Riji. The two of them have met. Now, there's going to be a show to watch. I don't know who will win in this confrontation. I think it will be Li Linfu. He has a lot of schemes, and he doesn't show it on the surface. He's a very sinister person." Wang Wan lay down beside Zhang Xiaobao and found that it was still more comfortable to sleep here. She pulled one of Zhang Xiaobao's arms and rested her head on it. Zhang Xiaobao was also calm. When he heard Wang Wan mention the two of them, he replied, "I reckon that the county officer that was sent isn't some good person. He might even be of some use. Don't underestimate others. This time we won't go back first. Let's see how chaotic their side is. Now, I think Cui Riji will win first. After all, we have prepared Feng Changgong's mistakes for him. As long as he is not stupid, he can arrange it clearly. Even if Li Linfu has the ability to turn the world upside down, he doesn't dare to directly protect Feng Changgong. The most appropriate thing for him to do is to temporarily stand on Cui Riji's side and severely punish Feng Changgong. In this way, he doesn't have to worry about being targeted by the imperial court. Then he can find a chance to turn the balance back. I believe he can do it. When we go back, we have to be careful when dealing with him. After all, he is so famous. Wang Wan chose a person. In the first round, Cui Riji won, and Li Linfu endured. Zhang Xiaobao adjusted the posture of his arms and said, "If Li Linfu is really as powerful as you say, I think he can find a way to protect Feng Changgong in the first round. He is still young, so he can't reach the level in the future. Who knows? Let's wait and see. Give me a blanket. I thought you lived alone. I'm going to sleep." Wang Wan pulled the blanket to her, yawned, and closed her eyes to sleep. Zhang Xiaobao wanted to turn his body, but found that his arms were pressed down. He had to face up. Looking at the moonlight shining on Weiwei's bright ceiling, he gradually fell asleep. The person they were talking about was also rushing through the night on a boat. At this time, he was less than 20 miles away from Shinsai County. It was estimated that he would enter the county tonight and find a hotel to rest. He would take over the position tomorrow morning. They had the transfer order of Feng Changgong, a county magistrate, a registrar, and a county lieutenant. They could officially take over the position when they arrived at the place. Feng Changgong was not sleeping at this time. Since he sent the letter and money to the people above, he had received a reply telling him who would come over. He was told to be careful and not to make mistakes, especially not to recognize the wrong person and show his bad side. Counting the days, he had been bringing people to watch the progress of the construction site next to Rushui every day. In fact, he was waiting for the people sent by the higher-ups. He hoped that the people sent would arrive at night. In that case, he could arrange a place for the other party to live and find his own people to discuss. If it was during the day, then there would be less buffer time. Chapter 7:27. They're coming, they're coming. Sir, they're coming. As soon as they saw the boat carrying so many lanterns, the yamen runners next to Feng Changgong shouted. They knew that the people who could light so many lanterns to sail at night must be sent by their superiors. Other people were not so generous, especially businessmen, who would save as much as possible. Feng Changgong also looked over there, and a relieved smile appeared on his face. The timing was perfect. He could arrange their accommodation and then discuss with Li Linfu about what to do. Looking at the boat from afar, Feng Changgong thought for a while and led his men forward to welcome them. At this time, only Li Linfu and Cui Riji were standing on the bow. Cui Riji stood a little forward, and Li Linfu and Weiwei stood behind, looking very humble. This is their construction site. I didn't expect that there would be people working here at night. Not bad. Once a workshop is built here in the future, the lives of the local people will be better. Shangxian might even become the most prosperous place. Cui Riji also saw the fire in the distance and the swaying figures there. So he said to Li Linfu beside him, "Yes, Sir Cui, you have to make more decisions in the future. When the time comes, we'll build this place well." Li Linfu was so low-key all the way. He took his position very seriously and didn't look like he was against Cui Riji at all. In fact, Cui Riji had nothing to say. When the Zhang family and the Wang family were building, it had always been like this. There were people working day and night in shifts. The speed was fast, but it was very expensive, especially the torches and the food provided at night. But they were rich. This method was the most typical way of using money to exchange for time. It was very useful, but not many people were willing to use it. Cui Riji liked to talk with Li Linfu, because when he spoke, he could feel that he was respected, and his impression of Li Linfu was getting better and better. Hearing Li Linfu agree with him, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and he said, "Sir Li, do you have any ideas about the future of the county?" "My lord, this lowly official thinks that as long as the rules are set by the Zhang family and the Wang family, this lowly official does not have the ability to do better than the Zhang family and the Wang family. Li Linfu knew that this was not the time to continue saying that everything was up to Cui Riji. He had to say something, and at the same time, he wanted to test him. Cui Riji, who had been very happy just now, put down his smiling face at this moment. He snorted slightly and said, "Lord Li, you don't have to belittle yourself. In fact, the Zhang family and the Wang family both have their own ways of doing things. Now that I know a thing or two, I can help make up for their shortcomings. After all, Zhang Xiaobao can't come here all the time. Naturally, there will be areas where he doesn't think things through. In the future, Lord Li, you have to help me think more. You can't make any mistakes, even if it's the Zhang family and the Wang family." Yes, after hearing what my lord said, this lowly official has thought it through. Zhang Xiaobao is very powerful, but he can't take care of Xian Kai County while he's in Baoxing County. This lowly official thinks that after taking over the position, I can ask about the specific plans, find out the omissions, and improve them. Li Linfu was still so respectful. At the same time, he could also put forward his own ideas. Of course, his ideas were all in line with Cui Riji's. However, he didn't think that way at all. The Zhang family and the Wang family did have their own ways of doing things, which was to find ways to make use of the local natural resources and then make arrangements according to the specific local conditions. One was the infrastructure, which needed to be fixed, and the other was the people's livelihood. However, such a way of doing things couldn't be done in every place. It had to be adjusted at any time. For example, the imperial court also had its own ways of doing things. One was to find ways to gradually improve the lives of the people in the Tang Empire. Another was to be careful when dealing with outsiders. Third was to make more arrangements when there was enough money to spend. Such a way of doing things was the same as not saying anything. Did they really think that it was so easy to imitate what the Zhang family and the Wang family did? If that was the case, there wouldn't be so many middle and lower counties now. Thinking of this, Li Linfu had a better understanding of Cui Riji. He was a little conceited, which could be used to his advantage. Cui Riji didn't know that he had exposed his weakness with just a few words. He was still fantasizing about finding out the problems in the business of the Zhang family and the Wang family, and then making up for it. Yes, just making up for it and not directly opposing it. He didn't dare to do that. It was also good to make up for it. It could make the reputation of the Zhang family and the Wang family not so high. When others saw that, they would think that the Zhang family and the Wang family also made mistakes sometimes. Cui Riji could improve his reputation, killing two birds with one stone. While the two were talking about the future, Feng Changgong had already led his men to the shore beside the sailing ship. As he followed the ship to a dock downstream, he shouted, "Are you Lord Cui, Lord Li, and Lord Yin on the ship? I'm Feng Changgong. I'm late to welcome you." Although Feng Changgong was called a lower official, he was actually about to be promoted. However, there was a prerequisite that he didn't let others find fault with him. Otherwise, it wouldn't be about where he would be promoted, but whether he could keep his position. Lord Cui, the person on the shore, is Feng Changgong, the county magistrate of Xian Kai County. Li Linfu heard the voice and said to Cui Riji. At the same time, he also looked at the shore. There were people lighting torches there to illuminate the area. He couldn't see what Feng Changgong looked like, but he knew that the person in the official uniform was him. Cui Riji also turned his head to look. After a glance, he didn't pay attention to it anymore. Instead, he said to Li Linfu, "Lord Li, he didn't rest in the county at such a time. Instead, he came here to welcome us. He didn't know when we would come, so he probably watched and waited every day. We didn't come here to make him wait. We want the local people to live a better life. Lord Li, tell me, if he waits like this, can he still get up to deal with official business during the day? How can he work for the people?" Cui Riji came here with Zhang Shua's idea. He didn't want Feng Changgong's people to be promoted smoothly. He was worried about how to find trouble, but he didn't expect Feng Changgong to give him an opportunity. He was happy. Li Linfu also complained about Feng Changgong. It was good to do things honestly, but he just had to curry favor. Didn't he know that there were people who came here to target him? He hadn't even taken over yet, and he was already caught red-handed. He was even more passive. After thinking about it, Li Linfu didn't say anything good about Feng Changgong. He also followed Cui Riji's words and said, Lord Li is right. Feng Changgong didn't put his mind on official business. He actually delayed his rest to welcome an official. After we get off the ship, I will teach him a lesson. There's no need to teach him a lesson. With our current status, we can't teach him a lesson. We just need to report this to the court. Cui Riji finally found this opportunity. How could he let it go so easily? He wanted to use this matter to take down Feng Changgong. Once the memorial was sent, it would be in Zhang Shua's hands. Zhang Shua wouldn't let go of such a serious matter. Li Linfu had to fight for his right to speak. He said it very nicely. Lord Cui, I think that we must teach him a lesson. We can't let him go just because his rank is not high enough or equal. After teaching him a lesson, we will report it and see what the court says. Well, okay. Cui Riji didn't object this time. As long as Li Linfu was willing to report it with him, it was fine. Feng Changgong, who didn't know that he was about to be unlucky, was still running on the shore. He kept saying good things, even if the other party didn't respond. In the end, his running speed couldn't catch up with the speed of the ship. When the ship reached the place first, he was still panting and running. When he ran to the dock, Cui Riji and Li Linfu were already on the shore. Behind them was the county officer named Yin, who took over the position. Lord, I am County Magistrate Feng. Do you know your crime? Without waiting for Feng Changgong to speak, Li Linfu asked loudly. Feng Changgong was shocked and couldn't breathe. He stood there anxiously, looking at Li Linfu. He didn't know why this person who should be on the same side as him attacked him as soon as he got off the ship. The county officer beside him quickly found some water and handed it to Feng Changgong to drink. Li Linfu didn't wait for Feng Changgong to ask why he was guilty. He said directly, You don't rest in the government office at night, but come here to wait for the official to take over. I guess you have been like this for many days, right? Then let me ask you, how do you work during the day? Is there anything here that needs you to take care of? I must report it. Hearing Li Linfu's words, Feng Changgong finally calmed down. So it was like this. It must be the other party's people who suggested it. Li Linfu was helping him. If there wasn't a construction site here, he really couldn't say anything. But there was still work in full swing there. Without thinking, he explained, Lord, you are wrong. My lord, you've wronged me. How could I be here to welcome a successor? Even if I had nothing better to do, I wouldn't do something like that. Perhaps I haven't done a good enough job, but I'm absolutely devoted to the people. There's a workshop under construction here, and I'm worried that something might happen to it, or that someone might dig up water during the construction process and cause the dam to burst. If that's the case, when can the people in the county live a good life? I'm not here to keep watch all the time. When I'm tired, I sleep for a while. When I wake up, I think about what to do to improve the lives of the people in Xian Kai County in a short time and cooperate with the Zhang family and the Wang family to make the county's economy prosper. These words were pleasant to hear and made people feel comfortable. At least Li Linfu felt comfortable. He was happy in his heart, but his face was still calm as he lectured. It's a good idea, but you can't be too ambitious. You have to be firm. Don't think that the economy of a place can improve in a short time. As long as you do what you should do, you are a good official. Otherwise, you will easily make mistakes out of kindness. You have to pay more attention to rest. Your health doesn't belong to you alone. It belongs to the whole Xian Kai County. You have to change the way you sleep. Yes, I know. I will change. I will take care of myself for the sake of the people. I know I'm wrong. County Magistrate Feng, did you encounter any trouble here? Are there any tents here? Cui Riji's good mood was gone. Listening to Li Linfu and Feng Changgong's words, the matter of him being punished seemed to have changed. Instead, it became a matter of praise. How could this be? If they continued talking, he would have to write a letter to praise Feng Changgong. This was definitely not what he wanted to achieve. Listening to the two talking, he felt disgusted and wanted to vomit. They were too shameless. He interrupted them. He couldn't let them continue. Feng Changgong was relieved and quickly replied, Yes, there are tents. but tents are usually for the tired people. It's better to go back to the county at night. There are also places there. We don't have to fight with the people. Since Feng Changgong decided to be a good official, he started to say that it was for the sake of the people. He didn't want Cui Riji to be here because it was inconvenient to talk here. It was easy for people to eavesdrop. Cui Riji's face became gloomy. He was tired and wanted to sleep early. It was not comfortable to sleep on the boat. When they finally reached the place, he wanted to rest early. He didn't expect Feng Changgong to refuse him with the same reason. Li Linfu snickered. He didn't expect Feng Changgong to be so interesting. Looking at the situation, Xin Kai County shouldn't cause any trouble. He could relax and deal with them after he understood. Cui Riji couldn't say more about this matter. He had to get in the car and walk to the county. It took more than 2 hours. It was already midnight. He was woken up in his half-asleep state. He got out of the car and went to the arranged place. He fell on the bed and slept. Li Linfu was also arranged, and so was the county magistrate surnamed Yen. After arranging for everyone to rest, Feng Changgong had to find Li Linfu. He wanted to wake him up and tell him what happened recently, including how he offended Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He thought Li Linfu would be able to sleep. However, when he arrived, he found Li Linfu was still in his clothes. He was sitting there waiting and sipping tea from time to time. "Master Li, I'm here," Feng Changgong said respectfully. "Sit down. Tell me what happened in the county. Don't hide anything. Otherwise, even the gods can't help you." Li Linfu knew Feng Changgong would come. Wei Wei nodded and asked him to sit down. Although she was sleepy, she had to endure it. Otherwise, she might not have time tomorrow morning. "Yes." Feng Changgong sat down and began to tell Li Linfu. Here's what happened. Just as Li Linfu had requested, Feng Changgong told him everything he knew. He did not include any subjective opinions, including how he had offended Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, what strategy he had used, and how the other party had not reacted. He did not leave out anything. He knew that the officials sent this time were divided into 2 groups. Some wanted to deal with him, and some wanted to protect him. Once he missed out something important, not only would he be finished, but the people above him would also be in trouble. Li Linfu slowly drank tea and didn't interrupt Feng Changgong. He listened to Feng Changgong. As he listened, his face darkened. When he heard about the Taoist priest that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan met and what he said before they left, his forehead was already sweating. He didn't have time to wipe his sweat and asked anxiously, "Did the Taoist priest named Rumeng really say that?" He said that the Taoist priest who chased after dreams could do the things of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. After you offended Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan that day and used a trick, it didn't trouble you? Yes, that's it. This is good. In the future, no matter what Rumeng said, the local people will be convinced. As long as it doesn't involve the workshop, there will be no problem. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan probably haven't thought a way to deal with me, so they can only hold on. Speaking of this, Feng Changgong seemed very happy. Rumeng can even meddle in the affairs of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. Why did you ask him to come here? That's the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. How are they compared to the current emperor? Li Linfu asked in disappointment and emphasized the words 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. Feng Changgong also sweated. Rumeng said a lot that day, and he had been thinking about how to scheme against Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, so he ignored many things. If it were the officials in the imperial court, they would have already realized it. Now that he heard Li Linfu emphasize the words 3 sovereigns, he finally understood. If someone mentioned it and added a little more, he would be finished. But he didn't ask about the emperor. It turned out that he was waiting here. Rumeng wasn't a god. Thinking of this, Feng Changgong pleaded with Li Linfu with a pale face. "Lord Li, save me. I didn't ask him to come here to talk about the emperor. I just asked him to look at the place." "You said he didn't, so he didn't?" "Rumeng stayed here for so many days. Who knows if you secretly asked him to do this? I'm going to die because of you. I don't even dare to provoke Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Why do you have to dislike them? If you want to divert the river, then do it. They're not the kind of people who only care about their own interests and don't care about others. I understand that you're not convinced by the two of them and want to compete. You still dare to say that they didn't do anything. Commandery Prince Tang and has already sent a memorial to talk about you. He is very dissatisfied with you. This time, Chui Riji didn't come here just to take office. He needs you to get rid of him. Good plan. Zhang Xiaobao is indeed Zhang Xiaobao. This plan is well used. They put you up and then use you to do the dirty work. They have already done it. It's because of you that they built a workshop here. Their purpose is to take the credit of Xian Kai being promoted to a county. At least, they won't let you take the credit. They also let people fight for the position. Now you see, the Imperial Court sent 3rd rank and 4th rank officials to be the county magistrate and registrar. How important do you think Xian Kai County is? No wonder Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan went through the normal channels to send a memorial instead of using pigeons. They want Zhang Shua to understand the situation in Xian Kai County. No wonder the name list they put forward is full of our people. They want to lure Zhang Shua into the arrangement of people and attack us. When Li Linfu got off the boat, he still thought that Feng Changgong was very smart. Now, he no longer thought that way. Smart people did many stupid things. He wanted to deal with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and offended them so badly. If he, a 7th rank county magistrate, really wanted to deal with them, it would be a joke, a big joke. Those 2 half-grown children were like cunning people. He had only seen them scheme against others, but he had never seen them suffer losses. Even the emperor was the same. When he asked for a place, he asked for a place in Jianan Road in the northeast. In the end, he arranged for them to be in Fengzhou. When his family went there to build happily, they found out that it was the place that the emperor wanted. After going in a big circle, he finally calculated all the people. If such people could be easily dealt with, the sun would rise from the west tomorrow. Li Linfu thought of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's plan this time and sighed. If it were him, he might not be able to do it. It was a good plan. If he didn't come here and listen to Feng Changgong's words, people on his side would think that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were on his side. It was not the case at all. Feng Changgong was dumbfounded. After listening to Li Linfu's analysis, he, who was not too stupid, finally understood the purpose of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's series of actions. It was not that they did not take action, but that they had already done it. It was just that he did not see it. Now that he understood it, he did not know how to deal with it. Sir Li, is there any other way? In order to deal with me, they took out money to build a workshop in Xian Kai. They are really unscrupulous to achieve their goal. Feng Changgong asked Li Linfu for help. When Li Linfu heard Feng Changgong's words, he was angry and amused. You are nothing. If they really want to deal with you, they have a better way, a more direct way. They really want the people of Xian Kai to live a better life. After all, Xian Kai is close to Baoxing County. If they pull Xian Kai together, the 2 counties can rely on each other and develop together. Ability, this is real ability. Do you think they will only pay so much for you? Then you underestimate them too much. The emperor and the officials in the imperial court will not pay so much attention to them. Dealing with you is just a matter of convenience. More importantly, they dragged Zhang Shua into it. Zhang Shua was the one who joined the list of people they sent to join the pilgrimage. I heard that Zhang Shua had said bad things about them in front of the emperor more than once. You think too highly of yourself. Wake up. Feng Changgong was said to be worthless. He was afraid and sullen. He sat there, lowered his head, and did not say anything. Li Linfu also did not speak. He drank tea mouthful by mouthful, his eyes fixed on a place without moving. After a while, he let out a long breath and said to Feng Changgong, "There is a way, but I don't know if it will succeed. Is it related to Chui Riji? Do you want to calm him down?" Feng Changgong looked at Li Linfu gratefully and asked, "It has nothing to do with him. Even if there are 10 Chui Riji, I can protect you if I want to. He is easy to deal with. The key is how much Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan hate you. If they want to deal with you, the success rate is not high even if I take action. It is very dangerous. How did you offend them? Why don't you send someone to test them first and see what they say? If they agree, it will be easy for me. You go back first. Don't sleep tonight. Think about it. I will also think about it. I will send you a letter before dawn. Remember to send someone to Baoshin County immediately. Ask someone to say that you are grandson. You are about to die, so don't care about your face. Do you understand? Li Linfu gave Feng Changgong an idea and asked him to leave. Chapter 728. Come on, come on. Sounds of encouragement came from the mouths of Xiao Bei and the others. There was a large pool in the courtyard of the Zhang family and the Wang family. This courtyard was not in Luoyang City because it was too big. They had bought a manor outside because there was a river passing through here. Now this place had been dug into a very large pool. Beside the pool, there was also a very high platform built with cement and wood. In fact, it could not be considered as being built. It was piled up like a small mountain, but on one side was a cliff. There was a lot of water in the pool below, and it was very deep. At this moment, a person was standing on the high platform. Looking at the height below, his legs were trembling. He was a member of the Zhuang Protection Team No. 1. This was the first time he was standing in such a dangerous place, and had to jump down. He was carrying a bag on his back and wearing a diving suit. There were also members of the Zero Team below, waiting for rescue at any time. Xiao Bao, jumping down from such a high place and landing in the water will be fine. Zhang Zhong had never seen anyone jump into the water from such a high place. He stood behind Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and used binoculars to look at the trembling legs of the person above. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head and replied, "That's not it. If he doesn't jump well, he can easily die. This is the reason why I didn't let him eat now. No matter what he does, there is danger. However, there are many things that he can't not do. He has practiced many times on flat ground and knows how to control his body in the air. I hope he doesn't forget because of nervousness. Watch, the members of the Zero Team have already demonstrated it. It would be great if he could find a way to fly into the sky. That way, another person can jump with him. The platform is not high enough." Zhang Zhong originally wanted to let this person come down, but seeing his son insist, he could only stay below and watch. This was the first step to flying. If he couldn't cross it, he could forget about succeeding. Xiao Bei and the others were still shouting excitedly. While the first member on the stage was nervous, he didn't dare to retreat. Once he retreated, he would be eliminated and wouldn't have another chance in the future. Gritting his teeth, he shouted loudly and recited the steps in his heart. He used all his strength to jump off the platform. As soon as he left the platform, he pulled on the rope in his hand. A big flower came out of the backpack behind him. With a bang, it pulled him down and slowly floated down. Seeing this, the people below all heaved a sigh of relief. Xiao Bei and the others even shouted out their praises. This one succeeded. Next one. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. He was very satisfied with this person's courage. Another person stood on the platform above. His face was pale, and his hand was holding onto the handrail. When he looked down, he felt his vision darken, and he was suddenly piled up there. Come on, come on. Xiao Bei continued to encourage this person. They hadn't stood at such a high place, so they didn't know what it felt like. Even if they knew that it was water below and that there was a doctor waiting to rescue them, it still required a lot of courage to jump. Xiao Bao, don't you think we should let them try high-platform diving for a low place first? When they get used to the feeling of entering the water, we can let them go up. Or bungee jumping. We can use a large number of cow tendons to form a rope. It shouldn't be a problem. Wang Wan felt that there was still a long way to go to train more capable people, so she told Zhang Xiaobao her idea. Zhang Xiaobao thought about it, nodded, and said, "This height is a little high. Let's start from a low place and increase it bit by bit. But no matter how much you increase it, they still have to stand there in the end. They can't jump into the water easily. I'll go up and take a look in a while. Is it really that scary? Then I'll go and take a look too. I haven't jumped in a long time." Wang Wan also looked eager to give it a try. She had also jumped with a parachute before. Of course, this wasn't learned in the military school. They didn't give her this course. She had used her family's identity to go to someone's military camp and ask them to jump with her. Once she jumped, she would become addicted. The person above was already lying on the platform. He crawled up bit by bit and peeked down. He looked as pathetic as he could. This made the people standing behind him feel helpless. They said to him, "Can you still stand up like a man? Either you stop jumping or you go back." The person lying on the platform turned his head and looked at his teammate. His face immediately turned red. He nodded, slowly stood up, closed his eyes, and jumped down while shouting. However, he forgot to open the parachute in the air. The people below heard a loud bang. This person plunged into the water with his feet facing down and his head facing up. When the person in charge of protecting below saw this, he immediately went to rescue him. This fall was probably not light. Zhang Xiaobao's heart also trembled. He was afraid that this person would be in danger due to the impact of the fall. Blood would rush to his head. Who knew that before the rescuers could get him, this person would float up in the water by himself? He shook his head and chuckled. He shouted to Xiao Bei and the others who were cheering him on, "I've jumped down." Xiao Bei's side very cooperatively clapped for him. In the end, this person immediately started grinning again. Just now he had jumped down, but the parachute behind him had also followed him down. When he fell into the water, the feeling was not very pleasant. If it weren't for the fact that the strap was wide enough and had a lot of traction, he would probably have lost half his life even if he didn't die. Get him out. It's fine. The acceleration in the air is so fast that even opening the parachute can withstand it, let alone entering the water at this height. Let him take a look. If there's nothing serious, he can jump later. Wang Wan knew why the person in the water was grinning. Fortunately, this person had mustered the courage to jump down. In a house in the capital, Zhang Shuo and Zhang Juling were sitting there. The two of them were reading the letters in their hands and thinking about their own matters. The letters were sent by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan from Luoyang. One letter was about Taoist dream chasing, while the other was about He Wei. Zhang Juling's letter was about He Wei, while Zhang Shuo's was about dream chasing. The two of them saw different things, so their thoughts were naturally different. Zhang Juling felt that He Wei wasn't bad. Although his performance in the past was a little bad, he had changed a lot ever since he went there. It was fine if he was promoted. The main reason was that he could return a favor to the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He understood that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't write such a recommendation letter to the manor because they didn't want He Wei to continue working there. From a meaning expressed in the letter, they were preparing to arrange for He Wei to go to Yaozhou, which was the state that was established with Huayuan County as the lead. They wanted him to accumulate experience there. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were probably preparing to use him. Zhang Juling had already agreed in his heart, but he was worried that Zhang Shuo would deliberately not agree to it in order to deal with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. If that happened, it would be difficult for him. Zhang Shuo still hadn't read the letter recommending He Wei. His eyes swept over the few words in the letter again and again, as if he couldn't get enough of it. The letter emphasized the situation of Feng Changgong finding a Taoist priest there, and it also described the situation without adding any of its own thoughts. It was precisely because Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't have their own thoughts that Zhang Shuo appeared helpless. If Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan said that they wanted to impeach Feng Changgong, then he could use this as an excuse to push the matter to the two of them. However, they didn't say anything and just calmly described the situation. They didn't even emphasize the key words that could be used to attack Feng Changgong. It seemed that they wanted him to make a move, and after knowing that he would make a move, they sent him a knife. Reading it over and over again, Zhang Shuo's mood went from being happy at the beginning to being confused, and now it was heavy. He finally found the source of the problem. He handed the letter to Zhang Juling and said, "Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan actually schemed against me. They did it on purpose, wanted me to make a move and then have a conflict with you in Rome. Now that they have succeeded, and at the most critical moment, they even sent me a big gift. Should I accept it or not?" Zhang Juling took the letter and finished reading it with 2 glances. He then took a deep breath and looked at Zhang Shuo helplessly, saying, "It's not good to accept it. This gift is a bit too much. They clearly want to kill with a borrowed knife, but without this letter, Xi and Kai County is very likely to lose. However, once we use it, We will be helping Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The two of them want to teach Feng Changgong a lesson, but they want to hide in the background and let us take the lead. Bad, really bad. My lord, look, there's a letter here. They want to recommend He Wei. Do you want to help them? Zhang Juling wanted to directly say that he would help them, but when he saw the other letter, he really didn't know what to say to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The two of them didn't waste time and went in a big circle to trap Zhang Shua just to deal with one person. It could be said that they killed two birds with one stone. Zhang Juling finally understood Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's character of seeking revenge for the smallest grievance. As long as you offended them, don't expect to live a peaceful life. They would always find trouble for you. Zhang Shua took the other letter. After reading it, he laughed angrily. Good. I have been promoted to this position and have met many powerful opponents, but I have never really admired anyone. Today, there are finally people I admire. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Good skills. This means that I have given you a big gift, and you have to return it to me. We don't owe each other anything. After all, as long as we do something about chasing dream, we will have an easier time in Xiankai County. My lord, what if we accept their gift but don't help them arrange people? Although they used us to deal with Feng Changgong, we have also received benefits. What can they do? Zhang Juling still hadn't reacted, so he asked again. Zhang Shua sighed and said, then it's even simpler. Don't think that this gift letter is really a gift. It's actually used to threaten me. If I don't agree to it, they will take action and protect the other party's people. Don't you see that they are just talking about the matter and don't have any intention of impeaching me? As long as I don't tell them to arrange for He Wei, they will have the means to take out another letter. For example, they found Taoist Feng Changgong. After their investigation, they found that chasing dream Taoist Feng Changgong didn't have such great ability. He was framed by someone else. Who framed him? By that time, we will have used the first letter to deal with Feng Changgong. The biggest possibility is us. What will the emperor think? Good plan. They handed the knife over, but didn't sharpen it. They can even take it back at any time. Zhang Juling nodded as he listened. He admired them in his heart. Two half-grown children were able to plot against Zhang Shua like this. He said, do you agree? Agree. How can I not agree? It wasn't easy to get a chance to occupy that place. I have no choice but to agree. I was careless this time. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sent the letter, I should have thought that it wouldn't be simple. I was fooled by their ages. If I had known earlier, I would have discussed with them about the Fengchang list. Even if I couldn't give them the number they requested, I could have arranged a few fewer people. That way, they wouldn't always be thinking about me. In the future, I have to be careful. I can't fail miserably. Send a letter to Luoyang. Once He Wei's matter is settled, we can make a move on Feng Changgong. Zhang Shua lost the game, but he didn't think that he lost unjustly. Instead, he felt that it was very interesting. He was schemed against by two little fellows and didn't even have the slightest bit of temper. Who told him to be one step behind? The other party drew a circle, and he jumped into it without waiting for others to push him. Fortunately, he didn't lose anything this time. He really had to be careful in the future. Zhang Juling knew that Zhang Shua wanted him to write a letter. He spread out a piece of paper next to him and hinted that he agreed to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's request to promote He Wei. While the two of them were feeling helpless for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, Li Longji and Gao Lishur were very happy. Li Longji could also tell from the recent events that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had schemed against Zhang Shua. In addition, the contents of Zhang Xiaobao's letter to Gao Lishur made it very clear how and why it was arranged. Hercules, that son of yours is truly amusing. He wanted to take care of someone, but he actually went in a circle, forcing Zhang Shua and Yuan Rong to fight. Actually, this emperor hopes that the two of them can cooperate and get things done properly, instead of fighting like this. Li Longji said to Gao Lishur with a smile after knowing the situation. Gao Lishur didn't think that Li Longji's words were correct. Perhaps he needed people to fight like this, so he respectfully replied, if Zhang Xiaobao wants to deal with someone, he can just write a letter directly. That Feng Changgong doesn't want to eat the same food as the commoners and wants to steal other people's fish. Moreover, He wants to implicate the commoners of Xian Kai County for his own personal gain. These few reasons are enough to deal with him. Why did he have to drag Zhang Shua into it? Sigh, he's still not sensible. What Gao Lishir said earlier was just a casual remark. Only the last sentence was what Gao Lishir wanted to express. What he meant was to tell Li Longji that although Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were good at scheming, children were still children. Whatever they did, they had to tell others. They couldn't hide things in their hearts and couldn't treat things like adults. Of course, when it came to their abilities, they could treat things like adults. Yes, it wasn't easy for them to scheme against Zhang Shua. They were afraid that others didn't know, so they wrote a letter to tell you about it, just like a child who secretly ate candy. In fact, even if they didn't say it, you can understand it if you think about it carefully. That He Wei can be considered lucky. Li Longji also agreed with Gao Lishir's words. If Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had not sent that knife-like letter to Zhang Shua, perhaps it would have been difficult to guess their true intentions. Once they guessed it, they would have to think highly of them, or rather be on their guard. However, not only did they take out that letter, they even used it to threaten Zhang Shua to get He Wei an official position. At the same time, they let Gao Lishir know about their schemes. They were clearly children who hadn't grown up. Gao Lishir also smiled and said, "Your Majesty, this actually shows that He Wei is a good person. He has the imperial court in his heart. After realizing that he can let his family have a good life without being greedy, he is willing to do things for the commoners wholeheartedly. It's not easy. He is much better than those officials who don't do their jobs properly despite having money." Yes, that's right. Li Longji nodded. As the two of them spoke, the palace maids and eunuchs beside them lowered their heads and pretended not to hear anything. At this moment, a eunuch ran in from outside and reported, "Your Majesty, another letter was sent from Luoyang. It says that Project Soaring is about to succeed. When the time comes, Your Majesty will see with your own eyes how people fly in the sky with wings." As the eunuch spoke, he handed Gao Lishir an envelope. The letter had already been opened, but there was a small envelope inside. The small envelope had a seal on it, indicating that it was not for others to touch. After checking it, Gao Lishir nodded at Li Longji and opened the letter. When he looked up, he saw a picture on it. Beside the picture was an introduction to various places. It was very detailed. "Your Majesty, there's a picture in the heart. The picture explains why people can fly in the sky. Take a look." After Gao Lishir understood it, he was astonished. As he spoke, he handed the picture to Li Longji. Li Longji was also curious. When he read the letter carefully, he saw the principle of how people could fly in the sky. It was like a kite. It explained how air came about, how it was blown, and why birds could fly freely in the sky. In fact, it was just simple content for popular education. If it were elementary school students like Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, they wouldn't be interested at all because they already knew. However, Li Longji didn't know. Today was the first time he had heard of it. He already knew, but he didn't know why. He didn't understand how things could be thought of in this way. After reading it carefully twice, he happily closed the letter and said to Gao Lishir, "So it's like this. Does that mean that as long as there's a strong wind, one can fly even on flat ground? There's no need to jump from a high place?" "I don't know. I think Your Majesty is right. I'll write a letter and ask over there. It's just that it's not easy for the strong wind to come out." Gao Lishir replied cautiously. He really didn't know. Li Longji thought for a moment and said, "Wind is easy. Between the clouds and the water, there are a few houses that are connected to fans. As long as there are enough fans and they spin fast, the wind will be strong. When the time comes, we can connect a frame and put people on it. With the wind blowing, people and the frame will fly together. If they could put something on the shelf, they could directly turn the fan. Some could be used to push it, and some could be used to pull it. Then, it would be much easier for people to fly in the sky. If they could put a few grenades on the shelf and throw them down from above, who in the world would be able to fight against them? It's just that it's difficult to make something that can be put on the frame to make the fan spin. I don't know if the expert behind Xiaobao and Wang Wan can think of a way. When you write the letter, write down my thoughts, and ask. Yes, Gali sure didn't care if Li Longji's idea would work or not. In any case, what the emperor said was good. Even if it didn't work, he had to let Xiao Bao and Cuckoo try. Gao Lisher really didn't know how many ideas Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would have after he sent the letter to them. The two of them would definitely feel that it wasn't easy for Li Longji to think of this. This was because this was the idea when the airplane was invented. It was even more amazing. He directly considered throwing bombs. At that time, the airplane was used for reconnaissance and had not become a bomber. At this time, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were already preparing to leave Luoyang and return to Baoxing County. Xiao Bei and the others also had to follow them back. After all, they couldn't fall behind in their education. When Xiao Bei was packing her things, she didn't forget to carry a mini parachute bag on her back. In the past 2 days, she had been telling others that she had also jumped with an umbrella. Her brother and sister had jumped with her, and it was very fun. Jiang Wang clan had already told Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan about this matter. That day, when other people jumped with their parachutes, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also jumped. After the two of them successfully jumped, the bold Xiao Bei also begged to jump once. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan considered it and really tied an umbrella bag on Xiao Bei. Then, the two of them jumped down from the platform with Xiao Bei. Xiao Bei actually opened the umbrella herself. She opened it before Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao. In fact, they didn't plan on letting her open the umbrella. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were prepared to share a large umbrella with the three of them. Of course, there was a backup. In the end, when Xiao Bei opened her umbrella, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were depressed. Zhang Xiaobao pushed Wang Wan in the air and pushed Wang Wan a distance away so that she could open the umbrella and not get entangled with Xiao Bei's. Zhang Xiaobao himself completed the diving action in the air and dove down first. Fortunately, there wasn't a strong wind. Otherwise, who knew where Xiao Bei would have been blown to? In the end, she slowly landed in her brother's arms on the surface of the water and shouted excitedly. From then on, she had to carry a small umbrella bag every day and was watched 24 hours a day. This was to prevent her from finding a high place to jump down. If that happened, she wouldn't even have the chance to open the umbrella. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's team set off, Xiao Bei ran to Zhang Xiaobao's side with her umbrella and asked, "Brother, can I parachute to the place we're going?" "No." Zhang Xiaobao didn't dare to say yes. "Then can I really use wings to fly in the sky in the future?" "Xiao Bei wants to fly too, okay?" Xiao Bei was very regretful and asked another thing. "Okay, as long as I can fly in the future, I'll bring Xiao Bei along." When Zhang Xiaobao said this, he had already decided that if he really made the hang glider in the future, no matter what, he couldn't let Xiao Bei see it during training. He was too bold. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.